Emo wasn't really going to go back. He instead opened the stealth formation of the flying ship and followed carefully. He could only follow in the direction that the ship had disappeared. In the next few days, Emo didn't find any signs of that ship but saw tens of islands. The islands were all wiped clean like the cultivators had said. Emo was shaken. Was this really the case? If so, how many beasts were needed to collect the herbs? How many herbs had been collected? There were too many islands in a 100,000-kilometer radius from this point, but all their spirit herbs had been harvested. This was no different than a beast wave. Beast waves usually started without warning and had little organization, but what had just happened before his eyes was much too organized. Thinking about this, Emo didn't continue following the ship. Regardless if the cultivator's information was true, he didn't have the power to take part in it. He changed the direction of his flying ship. A few days later, Emo found some more islands along the way, but they were all barren as well. Emo had decided to go deep into the sea. Although he was already in the deep sea and would face life-threatening danger if he went in any further, he was willing to risk it for the waterweed. 7 days later, he found another island. What shook him was that the spirit herbs were still there and there were still spirit beasts on it. Emo suddenly felt that the Ao-chun Merchant Association's actions were quite eerie. He didn't bother with that, it had nothing to do with him. Emo searched this island, they were all low-level spirit herbs. The other islands that were harvested wouldn't have high-level spirit herbs, but all these low-level spirit herb were harvested clean. There definitely was something here. 3 days later, Emo stopped on an island that was only a few hundred kilometers in circumference. He was very excited. He had finally found one water weed, one that didn't have any spirit beast guarding it. This was in the extremely deep sea. One was not enough for Emo, but it could let him know if he would be able to concoct the Heaven Glory pill. Emo found a safe place on this island and went into the Golden Page world. He was going to concoct the Heaven Glory pill. Emo had gathered all of the 4 main ingredients. As Emo threw a set of spirit herb into the Shun non-cauldron, he filtered out the impurities with his spirit sense. The pill liquid started to boil and mix. Emo took this trial very seriously and kept refining the pill liquid repeatedly. Half an hour later, a faint herb aroma was spreading. Emo rejoiced, he felt Su Jingwen's guess was right. Another 15 minutes later, Emo kept weaving finishing pill signs. The Heaven Glory pill was about to form. Emo held the excitement in his heart and was very careful. But at this crucial moment, he heard an almost indiscernible crack. The pill was about to fail? Emo was shaking. Was Su Jingwen's conjecture wrong? The missing herb wasn't the harmful part? Without it, the pill couldn't form? Emo's heart sunk. He stopped the pill formation process and used his spirit sense to stop the pill from cracking. The Heaven Glory pill was level 9 spirit pill. With his level 4 pill king skills, he far exceeded the requirements to concoct the pill. Emo carefully started to check the pill with his spirit sense. Soon, he saw the problem. The Heaven Glory pill was missing spirit power and couldn't condense. Emo immediately thought of spirit crystals. He threw in 3 without hesitation and started to use the finishing pill signs. This time, the Heaven Glory pill didn't crack and slowly condensed, eventually forming 3 pills at the bottom of the cauldron. Emo breathed a sigh of relief and picked up the 3 pills. Looking at 3 pills, Emo knew that he indeed didn't discover one more ingredient. It was quite possible that the Heaven Glory pill that person gave him was fine, but Emo shook his head. Even if he knew it was 99% fine, he didn't dare to eat it. He wasn't able to see what the terrifying existence did even if he did something to the pill. He was planning to concoct 6 pills but had only 3 formed in the end. Emo was sure that even if this was the Heaven Glory pill, ordinary people wouldn't dare to eat it. He supplied spirit power with spirit crystals, and although the pill eventually formed, it lost some harmony. Even if this pill could let people ascend, it would injure them. Those a little weaker might even explode. At this moment, Emo finally knew that the Heaven Glory pill had 5 main types of ingredients and he hadn't figured out the last one. But it was definitely not spirit crystal. But Emo already knew what the purpose of that last ingredient was. It was to provide spirit power and harmonize the power of the pill. Emo couldn't think of what this herb was. He didn't even find it on thing. But Emo wasn't very disappointed. His Heaven Glory pill was indeed the right pill, but he just didn't dare to let anyone else eat it. He himself should probably be able to eat it though. Emo packed away the cauldron and started to eat it. The pill turned into countless spirit liquids that instantly filled his meridians and dantian. Emo felt that the pill liquid was very cool and was surprised. He thought that the pill wasn't very explosive. Without thinking too much, he started to use the 3-birth chant to digest the liquid. But as soon as he did, he started to shake. All his meridians turned from cool into a burning inferno. It was as though the next moment he would burn to ash from the inside out. If Emo didn't use the 3-birth chant immediately, he might not even have had the chance to. The 3-birth chant made sure Emo didn't faint, but his meridians started to crack and blood seeped out of his body. His ligaments were convulsing. Emo had never been in such a bad state since he began his cultivation. He became a man of blood and could only hold onto that sliver of conscious. He knew that if he fell unconscious, he would be turned into ash. This pill was that volatile. But what agonized Emo the most was that he was sitting on a spirit root. He didn't even need to absorb the spirit chi and it would go inside itself. This was like a firefighter fighting fire with oil. At this moment, Emo finally understood how powerful his 3-birth chant was. His meridians were cracking, but his golden core was getting bigger and bigger, and his meridians were also healing at the same time too. Emo didn't know how long it has been, but when there was no more pain in his body, that explosive spirit power rapidly turned into cultivation essence. Emo could clearly feel his power increase dramatically. Emo breathed out and stood up. He estimated that it had been a few days since he had eaten the pill. He was golden core state level 3 and his cultivation essence was dense. He didn't have any feelings of discomfort. Not just that, he even felt that his meridians had expanded and become more durable. This was indeed one pill, one level. If this pill recipe was leaked, how much madness would it cause? Emo didn't rest, he started to consolidate his power. 5 days later, he felt his power had completely consolidated, and then he took out the remaining Heaven Glory pill. He stared at it for a long while before eventually deciding to keep eating. Clearly, he didn't want to experience that life and death pain again. But he knew that without power, perhaps what he would encounter next wouldn't just be pain, but death. Emo closed his eyes and sat on the spirit root once again. He knew it was more dangerous, but without the spirit root, the power of the pill wouldn't be fully utilized. This time, Emo was prepared and started using the 3-birth chant long before he felt pain. His meridians broke and repaired in a repetitive cycle. This time, Emo didn't suffer as much as last time and reached Golden Core State Level 4. Although he reached Golden Core State Level 4, he felt the pill didn't seem to be as effective as last time. Even so, Emo was very happy. He reached Golden Core State Middle Stage with just 2 pills. He had spent no more than 1 month in the Golden Page world. The guy didn't lie to him when he said that he could reach Golden Core State Peak Stage in half a year. Reaching Level 4, Emo consolidated his power but didn't eat the last Heaven Glory pill. He cultivated using the condensed red pill and started to study the 5th strike of Illusion Cloud and the Purple Eye Soul Sever. For the 5th strike, Emo felt that if he could merge formations into his sword, then his Illusion Cloud 9 strikes would go up a level. Emo kept testing and verifying, but he was always missing that little bit. After cultivating with condensed red pills and spirit crystals for a month, Emo's state completely stabilized. He didn't eat another Heaven Glory pill and left the Golden Page world instead. He wanted to kill some spirit beasts. He knew that the reason he far exceeded cultivators of the same level in combat capabilities was due to his constant fighting. Emo left this island and found another island. There were no water weeds here, but there were quite some spirit beasts above level 3. There was even a level 5 two-headed crocodile. It was laying lazily on the beach and ignored Emo's invasion, but after Emo killed more than 10 level 3 and level 4 spirit beasts, it finally couldn't stay seated anymore. It roared and charged at Emo, shooting out a dark ray towards Emo by raising one of its head. If Emo was in Golden Core State Level 2, he might be interested in fighting with it, but now, he really wasn't interested in this level 5 middle stage crocodile. Emo hacked with Zissou and wanted to test his incomplete illusion cloud fifth strike. The purple ray clashed with the dark ray of the crocodile. As the sound disappeared, Emo was disappointed to find that his strike didn't do anything at all. The sword formation didn't activate. The only use was that it blocked the crocodile's attack. Emo was disappointed, but so was the crocodile. It saw that its first move was blocked by a cultivator at a lower than it. It was furious and swept its huge body at Emo. Clearly, he was waiting for Emo to come down so it could attack again. Emo lost the will to keep fighting, seeing that his fifth strike was incomplete. He just hacked out with Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike. The spirit beast clearly didn't expect that it would be instantly bound. Before it could even feel fear, it had lost a head to Yemo's reverse slice. The crocodile immediately charged towards the ocean. Emo was just about to stop it when he felt an extreme sense of danger. Without thinking, he quickly kicked the crocodile head into the sea and found a place to hide. He felt two cultivation essence waves rapidly approaching. This was the deep sea, and Emo knew danger was around every corner. Just when Emo hid himself and masked his chi, the two cultivation essence waves arrived above the island. What shook Emo was that he was familiar with one of the cultivation essence waves. Soon, he remembered it to be one of the people who got off from the low-grade cultivation artifact flying ship. It was a nascent soul-state cultivator, but what shook Emo was that the nascent soul-state cultivator was the one running away from a chasing spirit beast. Emo didn't dare to watch with his spirit sense at all. He focused on camouflaging himself. He suspected that he had already been found. Qihong, why did you go back on your words? Are you not afraid of our merchant association's revenge? That nascent soul state landed on the island knowing that there was no point in running. Emo could tell that this nascent soul state cultivator was heavily injured. Then, he heard a coarse voice sneer. Keep my words? Bullshit, we agreed on sending 300 golden core state cultivators over, but you wanted to use those golden core state cultivator to start a rebellion. Luckily I was prepared too, or else you guys would have succeeded. How many times have I told you, their rebellion has nothing to do with us? I really don't know how they got the news. The nascent soul state cultivator said with annoyance. Very well, the coarse voice said coldly. Since it has nothing to do with you, why didn't you help me when they had the upper hand and instead tried to plunder? Does that have nothing to do with you too? The nascent soul state cultivator was at a loss for words, he said after a while. If we wanted to trick you, we wouldn't do it at this time. Why don't we wait till next time when we send over the nascent soul state cultivator and start the rebellion? Yeah, the spirit beast said in contempt. Luckily you reminded me. Dealing with you cultivators are like dealing with shrewd schemers. Luckily we didn't wait till the nascent soul state deal. Emo was shaken. They were up to no good indeed. The Aochang Merchant Association found some golden core states just so they could hand them over to the spirit beast for a deal. It was a pity that those golden core state cultivator had no idea at all. Although he didn't know for what reason that this was eventually exposed, Emo rejoiced that he didn't listen to those two golden core state cultivators. If he did, he might not be able to get out alive. Aochang Merchant Association. Such a cruel and sinister merchant association. Qihong, it's not the first time we've done deals like this. We did wrong to you this time. I'm willing to give you my storage ring. Please, on account of our many deals, let it go this time. The nascent soul state cultivator said. Let it go? You guys killed a level 6 brother of mine and you want me to let it go? Keep dreaming, Goo, die. Then Emo heard explosions. From their conversation, Emo could tell that the nascent soul state cultivator really wanted to do business with the spirit beast, but it probably wasn't his fault that it didn't work out in the end. The spirit beast probably knew this too, but still wanted to kill the nascent soul state cultivator. There must be some other reason. Emo could only listen and use neither spirit sense nor eyes to watch. The battle grew very intense and searing flames kept flying above his head. Sometimes stones would strike him. At the start, Emo thought his stealth was fine, but when those rocks and pebbles kept hitting him, he finally felt something was wrong. Both sides were nascent soul state tertiary stage and he was only in golden core state middle stage. If they didn't notice anything before, He could hide from them with 3 birth chant, but just from the rocks that kept hitting him, they would catch it with their spirit sense. Since both of them knew he was hiding here, what was the point of staying here? Thinking about this, Emo was forced to expose himself and immediately fled, trying to dart into the ocean. Emo was a decisive person. But just as he moved, he heard that nascent soul state cultivator say, "Xianxia attack." Emo didn't know what this meant, but he knew it was nothing good. Immediately, he felt a strong blow hit the place where he had been hiding. It was blown to pieces. So close, Emo thought. If he didn't predicted it beforehand and left half a second earlier, he would have been blown to pieces. Emo already landed by the seaside and understood what had happened by now. When the nascent soul state cultivator and spirit beast arrived, they had already noticed where he was. After all, he had observed them with his spirit sense before hiding. Plus, there was the bloody smell of a 2-headed crocodile here. The remains of battle were also apparent on the scene. But these two pretended they didn't know. That nascent soul state cultivator wanted to use him too. The nascent soul state cultivator knew that the spirit beast knew he was hiding there and gradually shifted the battle over here. When he was behind the spirit beast, the nascent soul state cultivator suddenly attacked and called out the name Xianxia. Because of this, the spirit beast thought he was ambushing him and was with the nascent soul state cultivator, so the spirit beast would attack him first. In fact, both of them succeeded. The nascent soul state cultivator made the spirit beast attack and the spirit beast attacked him first. If Emo didn't already suspect that he was discovered, he wouldn't know what was going on even if he died. Even though Emo already left the range of the attack beforehand, he still felt his chi roiling. 2 cunning bastards. Emo wasn't in a rush now as he fell by the sea. The two were fighting, perhaps he could use it to his advantage. It was dangerous, but he wasn't the type to be used and suck it up. Finally, Emo could observe that spirit beast. It was a level 6 one-horned flood dragon. However, it had 2 hands and looked very uncomfortable. As soon as the nascent soul state cultivator yelled attack, he spat blood and it soon turned into an eerie picture. That guy wanted to use this moment to use blood escape. He was smart, but the spirit beast wasn't dumb either. He attacked before the cultivator called out to attack, ignored Emo and attacked the nascent soul state cultivator instead. The nascent soul state tertiary stage had already started using blood escape, but it wasn't completed. He only needed 1 or 2 more seconds. If he still kept committing to his blood escape while a level 6 spirit beast attacked him with full power, then he would be dead for sure. He took out a huge stamp-like magic artifact. After releasing it, it turned to the size of a mountain and clashed with the spirit beast. The nascent soul state cultivator stopped the attack but had to cancel the blood escape. The nascent soul state cultivator was clearly decisive, and before the spirit beast could attack again, he took out a dark bead and quickly cut off one of his arms. The arm turned into a bloody mist enveloping the bead, and at this moment, the spirit beast's attack came again. The mist and black bead happened to clash with the second attack. Rumble, the terrifying sound, shook the earth a few kilometers away. Emo looked on and was amazed. He didn't know what that black bead was but was astonished it could release such power. Emo noticed that the cultivator's face went extremely pale after using it, but he glared at Emo before spitting out more essence blood. Although Emo knew he was about to use essence blood again and this was the best time to ambush him, he was too far from the cultivator and he knew that although the nascent soul state cultivator was heavily injured, he could still kill him easily. Emo noticed that the spirit beast was injured as well, but not as heavily injured as the nascent soul state cultivator. He had lost an arm as well. Both the spirit beast and nascent soul state cultivator were heavily injured, but he still wasn't able to beat them. This was the best opportunity to run. Without a thought, Emo burst his cultivation essence and was about to run, but suddenly, he stopped. Emo didn't choose the original direction and instead changed paths and grabbed something in midair before diving into the sea. "Insect, you're asking to die!" The spirit beast saw Emo grab the object and couldn't care about his injuries nor the nascent soul state cultivator anymore. He flashed across towards Emo but only caught his shadow. "Insect, you took my storage ring and you still want to run from the sea? Keep dreaming." The flood dragon roared and charged into the sea. The nascent soul state cultivator heard this and was shaken. His blast did seem to blow off the spirit beast's arm, but how did that golden core state level forget it? Seeing Qi Hong chase into the sea, the nascent soul state cultivator was regretful. If he knew that Qi Hong wasn't going to chase him, why keep using the blood escape? He sighed in his heart at the same time. A golden core state level 4 cultivator dared to steal a level 6 spirit beast storage ring. Even he desired what was in Qi Hong's storage ring, but he knew that golden core state level 4 wouldn't be able to escape from Qi Hong. Regardless, his blood escape activated and he turned into a shadow of blood disappearing from this island. When Qi Hong chased into the sea, he stopped after a moment. He was worried because he had lost track of Emo. How could a golden core state level 4 cultivator hide from him in the sea? His spirit sense had a range of a few hundred kilometers in the sea. He would be able to see the egg of a shrimp clearly, but that golden core state level 4 was gone. If he had only lost his arm, he could easily regenerate it with his wealth, but if he lost the storage ring, he lost everything. Emo knew he did something stupid once he stole the arm. Although he could go into the golden page world, this was the heartless sea, the realm of the aquatic spirit beasts. His golden page world was like a golden light floating in the sea. It was very hard to trick that flood dragon. Emo immediately realized that he was too greedy and unsatisfied that both nascent soul state guys used him. That's why he wanted to get something back. Suddenly, a group of rapid white fish dashed before the golden page world. This group of fish was in the 10,000s. Without thinking, Emo controlled the golden page world to go into a fish's mouth. Despite this, Emo was still unnerved. The golden page world left along with the school of fish. It was still within the range of Qi Hong's spirit sense range, but there were so many fish in the sea, he couldn't scan each one. Even a level 7 spirit beast wouldn't be able to check the insides of all the fish. Qi Hong would never expect that Emo had something as powerful as the golden page world. That was its own realm. There was nothing in the cultivation realm like this. There were small pocket worlds, but nothing as powerful as the golden page world. Most pocket worlds were artificial, but Emo's golden page world was born from chaos. No matter how powerful you were, even if you cultivated to be a god, you wouldn't be able to create something as powerful as the golden page world. So, Emo was clearly worrying too much. Unless Qi Hong could find the golden light in this fish's stomach, he would never be able to find him. Emo didn't dare to leave the golden page world, so he took out that spirit beast's arm and took a large storage ring from it before burning the arm. This storage ring was made differently from ordinary ones. He could also make some simple artifacts and storage rings, but the ones he made were the simplest and had very little space. This storage ring looked and was made differently. When Emo sent his spirit sense inside, he could tell that there was a very strong spirit sense restriction in it. Emo was sure that if he wasn't a formation and restriction master, he wouldn't be able to open the ring. Luckily, it was him who got this ring. If someone else had taken it, it would be as if they had got nothing for them. Emo started to remove the restriction bit by bit with his spirit sense. Even though he knew how to break it, it took him nearly 3 days. But when Emo saw the football field-sized space, he was astonished. Not because of the size, but because it was the first time he saw a storage ring this wealthy. This was no storage ring, it was a warehouse. When he got the bandit's storage ring, he was also shocked, but that was nothing compared to this. There were tall shelves placed tidily. The lowest level spirit herb was level 3. There were mountains of level 4 and level 5 herbs. He even saw a few hundred level 6 spirit herbs and 2 level 7 spirit herbs. What made Emo rejoice was that he saw thousands of water weeds. After coming out of the plane of herbs, he realized that he had thought he knew what being wealthy meant, but he actually had no idea before now. Other than spirit herbs, there were about 50 million top-grade spirit stones. There were countless middle-grade spirit stones and all sorts of magic artifacts and spirit artifacts fully stacked on a shelf. Emo believed that they were mostly taken from the human cultivators he killed. There were very few beast cores, only about 20. The lowest was a level 5 and the highest was a level 7. To Emo, level 5 and above beast cores were priceless. Emo's spirit sense reached the last white shelf. It had the fewest things, but Emo felt this was the most precious shelf. The first thing that caught Emo's eyes were 3 extreme-grade spirit stones. Beside it was a flame restricted by a seal. Snow essence flame? Emo was shocked. It was one of the 36 rare flames of the cultivation realm. It was only ranked 15 though. However, it was the hardest flame to collect. It was a water-type flame like the purple flower flame. However, the flame was pure water element. Some pills needed water and fire to concoct, and this snow essence flame was the best choice. It was good indeed. Emo was very happy and took it away. There were also 2 level 6 materials next to it, extreme blue gold and 1000-level spirit sand. Emo was excited and at the same time sighed. A mere nascent soul state tertiary stage spirit beast had such wealth. What if he stole the storage ring of a hollow spirit state cultivator? But Emo immediately thought of the black and white face and killed the thought. What Emo didn't know was that Chi Hong's storage ring was a small warehouse and it just happened to be Chi Hong's turn to keep it, which was why Chi Hong hunted Emo like crazy. If he lost the ring, there would be no good consequence for him. He was only one worker working under a level 7 spirit beast. Emo put away the ring but still didn't dare to leave. He started cultivating, preparing to eat the 3rd Heaven Glory pill. Another month passed and Emo reached Golden Core State level 5. He had lots of water weed and could continue concocting the Heaven Glory pill. But Emo didn't want to eat anymore for now. The powering up was satisfying but the process was too terrifying. Emo took out the 5-element mobility and made up his mind to study it. This was his main method of escape from now on. 5-element mobility was just a name, it wasn't actually 5 types of mobility. This was very easy to learn but hard to master. Even if you learned a little bit, your speed wouldn't be faster than using a magic artifact. It depended on your cultivation essence, spirit sense, and your understanding of the technique. It had 7 levels, but without a strong spirit sense and cultivation essence, you might never get past level 1. Even if you had powerful spirit sense and cultivation essence, without adequate understanding you would never reach level 2. Emo cultivated the 3 birth chant, so his understanding was unparalleled. He reached level 1 on the first day. Time passed quickly in cultivation and soon 2 months had passed. He couldn't keep hiding in the golden page world. He had left for half a year and acquired a lot, but he wanted to go back and check on MOU. Emo couldn't control the golden page world to leave the mouth of the fish, so he could only say sorry to that fish and left the golden page world. But when he came out, it was very dark. He scanned his spirit sense out and saw that he was in the belly of a whale. Clearly, that white fish had already been eaten. Well, he could finally get revenge for the white fish that saved his life. Emo released Zisu, and a gash was opened from inside of the whale's body. Emo came out from the whale's back and took a shower in the seawater before standing on top of the water. He was speechless to find that as soon as he came out, he saw another fight between 2 cultivators. But this time it was one Golden Core State level 9 and one level 8. The Golden Core State level 8 was in danger and was about to be killed. At that moment, the Golden Core State level 8 saw Emo suddenly appear and said, "Dao friend, please send news back. Aochang Merchant Association conspired with spirit beasts to trick Golden Core State cultivators to go out in the sea and hand them over to spirit beasts. You're asking to die." The Golden Core State level 9 attacked even harder. The Golden Core State level 8 was hit by a white jade ring and spat out more blood. But he still yelled, "Hurry and leave. Bring the news back. Otherwise, you'll be next after he kills me." Emo wasn't going to meddle in the business of others. But this involved the Aochang Merchant Association, who Emo was very annoyed with. Thinking about this, Emo released Zisu. It brought a long purple ray and passed a few kilometers above the head of that Golden Core State level 9. Even the Golden Core State level 9 didn't expect that a Golden Core State level 5 would refuse to run and come up to suicide instead. There are really still heroes in this world. That Golden Core State level 8 forgot about his situation and looked in a daze at the sword ray. He shivered at the sight of such a quick sword ray. Insolent! The Golden Core State level 9 sneered and was about to release his white ring again, but he felt his cultivation essence slow down. He couldn't completely activate his white ring. What was going on? The golden core state level 9 just wanted to run and immediately realized that his cultivation essence had been bound. He was shaken and broke out in a cold sweat. He knew the consequence of this too well. If the second strike arrived before he broke free, he would be dead for sure. He couldn't underestimate this golden core state level 6 anymore. He burned 3 mouthfuls of essence blood and barely broke free. This golden core state was definitely not only level 5, the golden core state level 9 realized, and he turned to run. If he kept fighting with EMO, he might have had a chance to run, but as soon as he ran, that sliver of a chance was gone. The second strike swept over the heavens at him. He could barely release the ring to block it and was encapsulated by the sword rays. The storage ring fell into Yi Mo's hand, who then looked back at the dumbfounded golden core state level 8. The golden core state level 8's eyes were wide open. From such a distance, Yi Mo finished off a golden core state level 9 with 2 strikes? Even though the golden core state level 9 already fought with him, he shouldn't have been killed in 2 strikes. This was too absurd. Was Yi Mo golden core state peak stage? But even golden core state peak stage cultivators shouldn't be able to do that. In reality, the golden core state level 9 was too terrified of Yi Mo fighting with a cultivator that could bind his cultivation essence. Was like suicide. If he didn't feel fear and run away immediately after breaking free, Yi Mo would need to spend some time fighting before he could beat him. If Yi Mo didn't lay down any formations during the meantime, he could even run away. But he was too scared of death and lost the will to fight after the first strike. "You're a golden core state peak stage Chen Bei?" The golden core state level 8 was dazed for a long time before blurting out. Yi Mo smiled and asked, "Where is this? How far are we from Pei Hai City?" The golden core state level 8 just realized that he had been saved and bowed to Yi Mo and said, "Wan Bei Li Qishan. Thank you for saving me, Chen Bei. Pei Hai City isn't far from here. 10,000 kilometers east lies the Pei Chi Island. The shameless Ao Chang Merchant Association conspired with spirit beasts and tricked golden core state cultivators to go out and die. I must expose this Chen Bei. I'll be leaving first. After I do this, I will come and thank Chen Bei." Yi Mo nodded. Li Qishan didn't know if he would live or die. That's why he said he would come back and thank him later. Yi Mo quite approved of this Li Qishan. He saw that Li Qishan was about to leave and stopped him. He took out the white ring and gave it to him. "This middle-grade spirit artifact is not bad. It's yours. If you don't have a place to go, you can come find me in Pei Hai City. I'm Yi Mo. I'm staying at MOU. Okay." Li Qishan didn't reject and disappeared after taking the ring. He had been in the deep sea for a while but hadn't heard of MOU. He thought it was just a small place. Yi Mo headed towards Pei Chi Island. If he got there, he would know which direction to go. Yi Mo crossed 10,000 kilometers quickly. The island was densely populated, making Yi Mo feel that this was no island but an island city. Yi Mo wanted to get some news about Pei Hai City and go back there through the teleportation formation. As soon as he got here, he heard the exciting news that South Peace State, North Far State, and East Black State were setting up intercontinental teleportation formations. He was planning to get a huge cultivation artifact flying ship after reaching Hollow Spirit State and taking everyone to South Peace State, but for now this was heavenly news. Yi Mo wasn't even planning to go into that small bar, but upon hearing this news, he walked in. The few Foundation Establishment State cultivators who had been talking didn't even realize that Yi Mo came here due to overhearing their conversation. Yi Mo knew that if he showed his golden core state power, these golden core state cultivators would be more vigilant, so he showed his power to be Foundation Establishment State level 5. "Dao friends, I'm Yi Mo. I've been cultivating in the deep sea. I just heard you guys talking about the teleportation formation. Is it true?" Yi Mo walked over and saluted with his fists. There were 3 cultivators at the table, one black-clothed man at Foundation Establishment State level 9, an honest-looking youth to his right who was Foundation Establishment State level 7, and a female cultivator who was curvaceous and golden core state level 8. Yi Mo's sudden appearance surprised them, but when they saw that Yi Mo was only Foundation Establishment State level 5, they didn't feel so vigilant. The female cultivator smiled sweetly. "Little brother, have a seat. What we said is true. You haven't been back to Pei Chi Island. Is that why you haven't heard about it?" Emo nodded in shame. Yes, I just came back from an adventure. I was very shocked at this news. Sai, even if we want to go out for adventure, it would be hard. The nearby islands have been swept clean by spirit beasts. There are so many cultivators on this island because they have nowhere to go now. Some Golden Core State Qianbais were organizing squads to go into the deep sea. But those people haven't been back since. After all, it takes longer to go into deep sea. We're too weak to go there, the honest-looking youth said, sighing. The black-clothed cultivator said, I heard some Golden Core States hired Ao Chang merchant associations ship to go into the deep sea. I wonder if they have succeeded. Emo wasn't here to discuss this. He smiled and said, I also heard that these Golden Core State cultivators were organized by the Ao Chang Merchant Association, but they're not out there to cast away spirit beasts. The Merchant Association organized them to deal with spirit beasts. Their goal is to trick them to join them and then sell them to the spirit beasts. Before Emo could finish, that female cultivator quickly stopped Emo and looked around carefully. Little brother, do you not want to live? How dare you say these sorts of things? There are people from Ao Chang Merchant Association everywhere. If they hear you, you will die for sure, and we will also be involved. Emo knew this was true and smiled. Okay, let's not discuss this. How far is that North Far State teleportation formation? The female cultivator quickly said, It's located in Peihai City. I heard a few Truth Realization State cultivators came to set it up, and there are more Disaster Transformation State cultivators. By the way, have you heard of MOU? They're the biggest merchant association in Peihai City, because it's said that they're closely related to a Disaster Transformation State formation master who came. Emo was shocked. He knew everyone who was in MOU, since when were they connected to a Disaster Transformation State cultivator? How come he didn't know? Emo immediately said, I know MOU, but they're a new merchant association. How can they be associated with a Disaster Transformation State formation master? The female cultivator got more into the conversation. Everyone from MOU are business geniuses, and in just 2 months, they became the #1 merchant association. But because of this, they offended the previous largest merchant association, Xianxia Merchant Association. Emo began to worry. Xianxia Merchant Association wasn't an entity that MOU could mess with. The female cultivator didn't notice Emo's expression and said to herself, It's said that at the time, the manager of Yanghai Merchant Association requested city management to take the land back. But for some reason, the person responsible for this, Manager Wang, was in solitary cultivation. It said he was breaking through to nascent soul state. Meanwhile, the Yanghai Merchant Association have always been domineering. So since the city management didn't do anything, they sent 2 nascent soul state cultivators up there themselves. 2 nascent soul state cultivators, and Li Yuqian wouldn't be able to stop them. Emo had made up his mind that when he got back, he was going to concoct some nascent soul state cultivator pills no matter what, so Li Yuqian could reach hollow spirit state earlier. But Emo wasn't too worried. After all, with the formation he set up, 2 nascent soul state cultivators were nowhere near enough. But what they didn't expect was that the Disaster Transformation State Formation Master was staying as a guest at MOU, and when the Disaster Transformation State Qianbei knew that they came to look for trouble, he destroyed their nascent souls on the spot and threw them out. Emo could finally breathe easy now. He didn't know how that Disaster Transformation State Qianbei was related to MOU, but he felt it had something to do with the formation he set up. The youth also shook his head and said, when those people realized that there was a Disaster Transformation State Qianbei supporting MOU, the owner of Yanghai Merchant Association brought gifts to apologize instead of getting revenge. That black-clothed cultivator said, don't underestimate them. Even Ao Chang Merchant Association aren't as big as them. The Disaster Transformation State Qianbei is from the South Peace State. He won't be staying in Peihai City forever. When the Disaster Transformation State Qianbei leaves, MOU will still face danger. Even if they aren't attacked overtly, subtle means can still be used against them. Emo heard this and agreed strongly. It was not plausible to rely on a Disaster Transformation State cultivator from South Peace State for support. By the way, Sister Tian, how can that Disaster Transformation State cultivator be related to MOU? That youth asked something Yemo long wanted to know. The female cultivator shook her head. That I don't know, but I'm sure that Manager Wang knows, and that's why he used the excuse to avoid seeing the Yanghai Merchant Association. I heard that every time the disaster transformation state Qianbei came to MOU, he would walk around MOU. Yemo had understood by now that the disaster transformation state Qianbei liked his formation means and wanted to discuss them with him, but he was in the deep sea and hadn't been back for months. Yemo was relieved that a disaster transformation state Qianbei had protected MOU, but he didn't think MOU would attract the enmity of Yanghai Merchant Association in such a short time. It seemed they had fully utilized their business minds, but they thought of the world too naively. This wasn't Ninghai. If he was in Peihai, he would prefer to stay more low-key. MOU can be built beautifully, but they shouldn't be pressuring others business-wise, at least not now. But Yemo was no timid person. Since he already offended others, he might as well eliminate the threat. If he couldn't kill the danger, then he would retreat. Yemo got what he wanted and had no intentions of staying longer. He got up and saluted with his fists. Thanks for telling me the latest news of Peihai City. Before Yemo finished, the female cultivator said, Little brother, you're not yet in the golden core state. You can't keep talking about the Aochang Merchant Association in such a way. Otherwise, you won't even know how you will die. Yemo smiled and replied, I know. Thank you, big sister. There's a big auction on the island tonight. If you brought back anything good, you can sell it at the door there. You'll get a good price. The female cultivator reminded him again in goodwill. Yemo really didn't want to go to the auction. He had gained a lot, but Peichi Island wasn't a good place to sell it. He couldn't expose it yet. If someone knew he stole the spirit beast's ring, he would be finished. Yemo left the bar and showed his golden core state level 5 power again. Could save him a lot of trouble here. The once-a-year big auction of Peichi Island is being held tonight. All sorts of precious items. Only 2 low-grade spirit stones, and you will know everything inside. A few chi-gathering cultivators raised their booklets promoting everywhere. Are the things in the auction tonight really all in your booklet? A golden core state grabbed a booklet and threw 2 spirit stones over while asking. The chi-gathering cultivator quickly said respectfully, Qianbei, more than 80% is in the booklet. Of course, there are some treasures at the end of the auction that we don't know. I know. The golden core state murmured and left. Give me one too. Yemo threw 2 low-grade spirit stones over and took one. There wasn't much on it, but it was indeed not bad. There were even level 6 spirit herbs and top-grade spirit artifacts. Level 7 spirit beast Dihua beast core? Yemo exclaimed. Level 7 beast core was so rare that you can't even buy it. Dihua beasts were very rare too, and very fast. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to catch one at all. Even hollow spirit state cultivators wouldn't be able to get Dihua beast core. Dihua beast core? Another golden core state heard this and immediately said to the chi-gathering cultivator, Give me a booklet too. When he got the booklet, he repeated in surprise, Dihua beast core indeed, and a level 7 at that. Yemo thought the Dihua beast was hard to catch, but it was only a level 7 spirit beast. There was nothing special about it. Although Yemo really wanted to go up and ask, he knew it would be too sudden and that person might not tell him. Yemo wasn't interested in the auction originally, but because of the level 7 beast core, he decided to go. Thinking about this, Yemo left rapidly and went to a secluded place to put on 9 transformations. This time, Yemo changed into a pale-faced rich second-generation man. He dressed himself appropriately and held a spirit artifact fan. Although there were still a few hours before the auction began, Yemo didn't want to go enter along with a lot of people. There was a Foundation Establishment State Level 9 at the door, and seeing Yemo's very fashionable and cocky look, he didn't dare to be disrespectful. Qianbei, there are still a few hours before the auction starts. Do you really want to go in now? That Foundation Establishment State cultivator asked carefully. Yemo glared. What, I can't? This Foundation Establishment State shivered at the unreasonable glare and thought. These rich second generations were too hard to deal with. Which family let him out? No, you can, of course you can. The Foundation Establishment State didn't even dare to look at Yemo's face and quickly replied. He knew that if he offended someone like this, he would die really quickly. Give me the most expensive room. Emo kept up his act. Emo thought it would be at least a golden core state reception. The most expensive room costs 100k top-grade spirit stones. The one lower. The Foundation Establishment State replied. He knew that the most expensive ones were just for show. Rarely anyone went in. After all, 100k top-grade spirit stones were a huge fortune for a golden core state cultivator. Some golden core state cultivators only had about 1 or 2,000 top-grade spirit stones. Emo waved his hand. No need for the one lower. I'll take that 100k one. Then, Emo threw him a bag with 100k top-grade spirit stones and said, "Don't waste time. Take me to my room." Ha! The Foundation Establishment State was dazed for a second, then immediately reacted, Okay. Qian Bei, please follow me. That Foundation Establishment State cultivator brought Emo inside and took care of the procedures. Then, another extremely pretty woman took Emo to the most expensive room. After coming here, Emo realized why this room was so expensive. It wasn't in the best location but was very luxurious and had a high-level spirit gathering formation, as well as all sorts of spirit fruit. There were some scantily clothed female cultivators and a big pink bed. This room was the most expensive but not the best. Clearly, this place was most suited to the persona Emo was currently displaying. Emo was afraid of being recognized. Otherwise he wouldn't act so cold. He waved his hand at those pretty girls and said, "You can leave now, I don't need you here. Don't disturb my rest." His tone was cold and emotionless. Those female cultivators felt unsatisfied but didn't dare to go up and talk. They bowed and left. After these girls left, Emo checked the situation in the room here. One could see the entire auction ground from here and there was a high-level spirit sense barrier formation. There was no surveillance formation here either. Clearly, this auction was rather transparent and clean. Emo had a lot of time to kill, so he sat down and started cultivating. "You said a youngster in his 20s looking very pale and unfamiliar?" A nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivator furrowed his brows in an equally luxurious room, questioning the Foundation Establishment State cultivator. Yes, it was as though 100k spirit stones was nothing to him and he took it out easily. He kicked the maids out as soon as he came in. The Foundation Establishment State replied respectfully. "Should I send someone in to check?" The nascent soul state waved his hand after some thought. "No need, he's here for the auction. We've been holding auctions for many years. As long as he behaves, we don't need to do anything. If he does anything odd, there's even less need to investigate him. He'll just spend some spirit stones." "Yes." The Foundation Establishment State quickly answered. A few hours passed and Emo opened his eyes again. Finding that most people were here, Emo scanned with his spirit sense. Most of the people here were in the golden core state and some were nascent soul state, but he didn't see any Foundation Establishment State cultivators, meaning that the lowest requirement for this auction was probably golden core state. Another 15 minutes passed and when the entrance closed, another golden core state female cultivator with very little clothes walked up to the stage. The first item is a bottle of top-grade blue wind pills. There are 6 pills in total. I don't need to explain the effect of the blue wind pill, but I believe everyone knows better than me that the lowest price of the pill is 100k top-grade spirit stones and each increment must be no less than 5k. As soon as her voice sounded, the golden core state cultivators rustled. As long as one was golden core state, they needed the blue wind pill. 110k. People immediately started bidding. 120k. 150k. Emo finally understood why cultivators liked to come to coastal cities. The cultivators here were too wealthy. The fortune they had compared to cultivators of other places wasn't on the same level. At the Nanshan market auction, people used middle-grade spirit stones, but here people were using top-grade spirit stones and adding in 10,000s. One top-grade blue wind pill was sold for 300k. This wasn't a price that an ordinary golden core state could afford. The auctioneer was obviously happy that the first item was sold for this price. She looked at the excited atmosphere and said, "This is a top-grade spirit artifact rainbow silk dress. It's made with rainbow-winged spirit silkworm's silk. It not only has astounding defensive capabilities but can also perfectly outline a female cultivator's curves. The bottom price is 200k top-grade spirit stones. Each increment must be no less than 10k. EMO didn't have a defensive spirit artifact, and neither did Song Yangzhu nor Yi Ling. This rainbow silk dress was very pretty and seemed very light and soft. EMO was interested at first glance. He had decided to buy it, and either Song Yangzhu or Yi Ling could wear it. Thinking of silk, EMO thought of Shadowless. It was still asleep, but there was a thin layer of silk around it forming a cocoon. EMO wondered if it could be made into an armor too. As EMO thought for a moment, the rainbow silk dress's price had already rose to 360k. EMO knew that too many female cultivators loved this, and there was no way that it could be bought with a low price. EMO said, 500k. This price made a lot of the people fall silent. This price wasn't low, and someone who could casually take out so much was no ordinary person. There was a brief moment of silence until another bleak voice said, 510k. I'm AO Chang Merchant Association's AO Qilong. Friend, if you want to bid a higher price, then very well, I'll quit, This was an obvious threat. Some other people who still wanted to bid gave up on the thought because of this. AO Qilong was the young master of AO Long Merchant Association. He was just 40 but was already Golden Core State level 9. EMO suddenly felt that he was back at the Nanshan market, and this AO Qilong was Fei Zijiang. But now, Fei Zijiang was dead, and that stone stool was in his golden page world. Now, there was another dimwit who tried to threaten him. He was a fake rich second generation, but he knew that AO Qilong was a real rich second generation. His attitude was due to being given long-term respect by the people around him. He would naturally form a condescending attitude. The auctioneer was very unhappy with AO Qilong's actions, but she couldn't do anything about it. EMO suddenly thought, if one day MO you grew big and he held an auction and someone made threats in his auction, what would he do? What else? Throw him out. If MO you didn't have that power, then they shouldn't hold auctions. 510k once. Most people knew that there probably wasn't going to be another bid. 510k twice. The auctioneer's voice woke EMO up. AO Qilong smiled, so what if that Aravista stayed in a high-level room? Anyone could go in there with enough spirit stones. But for rooms like his, you needed not only spirit stones but also status. Thinking about this, he patted the female cultivator next to him and said, if I say those clothes are yours, then they're yours. No one can take them. That pretty female cultivator next to him called like a cat and squirmed into his arms, clearly very happy about the clothes she was about to get. But EMO just called out, 520k. Everyone glanced or threw their spirit sense at EMO's room, despite them being unable to send their spirit sense inside. Everyone wanted to know who this bold guy was who dared to slap AO Qilong's face like that. AO Qilong heard this and his face went green. He got up immediately. AO Qilong didn't think this Aravista really dared to bid against, and slapped his face by adding an extra 10k spirit stones. Very well, I keep to my words. The rainbow silk dress is yours. I hope you can hold it long enough to make it warm. AO Qilong's face was bleak. No one dared to be this rude to him. Even nascent soul state cultivators wouldn't show bad attitudes when they saw him. Everyone else also thought that this Aravista had balls. Some even guessed that EMO had a large backing and was probably the young master of another big power, or he had conflicts with AO Qilong already. That's why he added 10k. Otherwise, he could have added 50k or more. Although that would still offend AO Qilong, it wouldn't offend him as much. Now, no one wanted to add more spirit stones. They all knew that AO Qilong would rob the item back in the end. 520k spirit stones one, 520k spirit stones twice. The auctioneer seemed to want to insult AO Qilong and dragged her voice on. 520k third time. The female cultivator slammed the hammer. Deal, congratulations. Friend from the 11th room. EMO sneered. This made AO Qilong even angrier. But this female cultivator didn't have any good intentions either. He didn't care. He already offended AO Qilong, so it didn't matter how badly AO Qilong hated him. The rainbow silk dress was sent to EMO's room. Emo opened it and saw it was indeed made very exquisitely and emitted a soft chi. He was sure that if one wore this, it was not only very beautiful but comfortable as well. Emo was very happy that he could get this for 520k spirit stones. The only ones unhappy were Ao Qilong and the beautiful woman in his arms. The auctioneer took out the third item. She showed it off and said, "This is a level 4 formation disc. It can attack or defend. The starting bid is 100k top-grade spirit stones." Emo had lost interest in what she had to say, but Emo didn't expect that a level 4 formation disc would have a 100k starting price. Emo knew that if he had the materials now, it was no problem for him to make level 4 formation discs. His formation skills had reached level 5. It seemed that both pill concoction and formations were lucrative businesses. If he went to learn forgery sometime, then he would be a master of all the cultivation realm crafts. Emo shook his head. Any of the arts, whether it was formation, pill concoction, forgery, or rune-making, was each enough for a cultivator to study for their entire life, yet he wanted to learn all of them. After the formation disc was bought for 160k spirit stones, the following items were either pills or spirit artifacts. There were a few spirit herbs that were useful to Emo, but he didn't buy them. After all, he had too many spirit herbs in his storage ring. He didn't need to buy everything he saw. Half a day passed quickly and Emo didn't buy anything else. He wanted to buy the level 7 Dihua Beast Core. He felt that this Beast Core would benefit him, but he didn't know exactly how. Just as he was thinking about this, that female cultivator said, "The next item is definitely explosive. Many friends have already guessed it. That's right, the level 7 Dihua Beast Core." As expected, the cultivators down below burst into pandemonium. Many people didn't even know what the Dihua Beast was or knew what it was for. After the noise, the auctioneer said, "Many people just think this is just a level 7 Beast Core, but if you think like that, you're wrong. The difference between other Beast Cores is that the Dihua Beast Core can increase your chances of reaching nascent soul state. If you spirit refine the Beast Core, you will have above a 60% chance of reaching nascent soul state." Seeing that someone was about to talk, she pressed her hands together and said, "Friends, don't be hasty. I know you want to say that if you just spirit refine the Beast Core directly, you would explode even if it was a level 5 Beast Core, right? That's true for other Beast Cores. But the Dihua Beast is an exception. Instead of calling it a Beast Core, the Dihua Beast Core is more like a spirit item. Of course, it's not a spirit fruit, but it's the only Beast Core that can be spirit refined by a cultivator. It contains astounding amounts of spirit power, but it's not volatile. It's very calm and doesn't contain any negative emotions. If you get the Dihua Beast Core and spirit refine it with Mist Flower, then you'll have an even greater chance of reaching nascent soul state because the Beast Core can neutralize the explosive power of the Mist Flower. So this Beast Core is like a Chao Huan pill but better. Rumble. The crowd burst into excitement. No one expected that the auction would have something similar to a Chao Huan pill. Although a level 7 Beast Core was something that a nascent soul state used to reach hollow spirit state, even nascent soul state cultivators wouldn't be able to spirit refine other Beast Cores. Emo's head also rumbled. He finally understood what the Heaven Glory pill was missing. It was the level 7 Dihua Beast Core. If this woman didn't explain it, he would never think that the Beast Core of Dihua had large amounts of neutral spirit energy. His Heaven Glory pill needed something with large amounts of spirit power. Plus, if the Beast Core could neutralize the volatility of the Mist Flower, then it could also neutralize the volatile power of the other herbs in Heaven Glory pill. Emo smiled bitterly. If he didn't know what the fifth ingredient was, it was fine, but after learning it, he realized how absurd his trial before was. He was thinking that if he could find the fifth ingredient, he could concoct large amounts for everyone around him, but now he knew that was impossible. This Beast Core was very rare. Plus, the pill itself was absurd. Which madman thought of using such an extravagant way of concocting pills for Golden Core State cultivators? If a level 7 Beast Core couldn't let a Golden Core State cultivator increase one level, then this level 7 core didn't deserve to be level 7. The reason this guy was crazy was that even one whole bottle of Heaven Glory pill might not be worth a Dihua Beast Core. But Emo was also crazy like this. He wouldn't care if it was a level 7 Beast Core or not. If it was useful for his cultivation now, then he would be willing to get it no matter the cost. The auctioneer waited for the crowd to calm down before saying, "The starting bid is 1.5 million top-grade spirit stones. Each increment must be no less than 50K. You can start bidding now." Everyone knew it wasn't going to be cheap, but 1.5 million top-grade spirit stones as a starting bid was too insane. The scene fell silent. But the auctioneer wasn't worried at all. She stood on the stage waiting for bids. She knew there would be people who could afford it. 1.6 million. The auctioneer didn't wait for long, and some cultivator already made a bid. Soon, more people started to bid. 1.7 million. 1.8 million. 2 million, mine. Some even stood up while making bids and raised their fist. However, this Dihua beast core was worth much more than this price. Soon, when Emo wanted to bid, it was already 2.15 million. After this price, no one made bids anymore. A golden core state peak stage stood up in excitement and said shakily, "No one else is bidding, call time." Everyone could understand how the golden core state peak stage was feeling, and so could Emo, but he was still going to make a bid. He had to buy it. This core decided if he could reach nascent soul state. Emo was really sick of using spirit crystals to concoct the heaven glory pill. That pain wasn't something ordinary people could endure. Plus, he didn't even know if there were side effects with the pills made with spirit crystals. The female cultivator smiled and just wanted to speak when someone else made a bid. 2.2 million, another voice said before Emo could bid. The golden core state peak stage slunk down after hearing this price. Clearly, this was the highest price he could afford. Emo heard this voice and sneered. It was that Ao Qilong again. This guy wanted what he had his eyes on every time. How angry would this guy be once he took the Dihua beast core from him? 2.2 million first time. Seeing Ao Qilong make a bid, the auctioneer wasn't happy but could only start calling. Before she could call twice, Emo bid 2.5 million. The competition was intense before, but rarely did anyone add 300k spirit stones each time. Emo's bid immediately caught the attention of everyone. When they saw it was the same guy, they had looks of understanding. That Aravista in the luxurious room clearly had some great conflicts with Ao Qilong. Otherwise he wouldn't be fighting with him for every bid. Ao Qilong was furious hearing that it was Emo bidding. He knew that he wasn't going to let this guy go after the auction, but he was now outbid publicly again. He was extremely unhappy. 2.6 million. Ao Qilong added 100k without hesitation. Even if he gave the auction holders more spirit stones, he didn't want to be outbid by Emo twice. The young master of the Ao Chang Merchant Association was outbid by an Aravista. He couldn't lose that face. 3 million, Emo said calmly. He didn't consider Ao Qilong a threat at all. The level 7 beast core was worth at most 2 million spirit stones. Even if the Dihua beast core was more valuable, it wouldn't be worth over 3 million. After all, these beast cores were only effective for the golden core state and nascent soul state. 3.1 million. Ao Qilong cursed. How dare this insolent brat dare to compete with him? Did he not know he was the young master of the Ao Chang Merchant Association? He couldn't lose face for that name. 3.5 million, Emo said. He picked up tens of millions of top-grade spirit stones for free. It didn't hurt him at all. Everyone took a deep breath. This Aravista was so wealthy. 3.5 million top-grade spirit stones had far exceeded the value of the Dihua beast core already. Even ordinary nascent soul state cultivators wouldn't have this much wealth. Just when Ao Qilong wanted to increase the bid, a manager-like person next to him whispered, "We only brought 5 million spirit stones along and you've already spent 2 million on the things you bought before. We don't have more spirit stones." Ao Qilong heard this and almost spat blood. Since when was he, young Master Ao, insulted like this, and that too in front of the pretty girl he just got? He really wanted to bid more, but he didn't have enough spirit stones. Okay. You have balls. Ao Qilong said coldly to Emo. Emo sneered. He was never afraid of threats and replied coldly, "Ao, you have balls too. How dare you bid against me? If you don't have money, then don't like you do. Cheap shit." The scene fell silent. Even the auctioneer didn't understand. Ao Qilong was threatening Yemo, but he didn't name names. But now, this Aravista not only won the bid but also named Ao Qilong and cursed him. He sounded like a hippie on the streets. The insults had no technique at all. Slam! Ao Qilong pulverized the tea table in front of him. Everyone in the auction place could hear it clearly. Yemo said calmly, "You're an imbecile indeed. You don't have money to buy things, so you vent your anger on the property of the auctioneer. But luckily your dad has enough money for compensations." "What's an imbecile?" a voice suddenly asked, clearly not liking Ao Qilong too. "No matter who you are, if I don't repay you dearly, I'm not a human." Ao Qilong gritted his teeth and said. Yemo replied to the cultivator who asked the question, "See now, this is an imbecile." Everyone heard this and burst into laughter. Yemo sneered. He wasn't someone without a brain. He wasn't going to fight with Ao Qilong by swearing at him. But since Ao Qilong wanted to attack him, he was going to stand up for himself. The more he angered Ao Qilong, the more Ao Qilong would want to kill him personally. This way, he wouldn't think of getting help. If he left Peiqi Island and Ao Qilong chased him by himself, he wouldn't mind killing this guy. He'd been annoyed at Ao Chang Merchant Association for a long time. Killing one of them was still one dead. If this guy calmed down and found a nascent soul-state cultivator, then it would become quite difficult for Yemo. Yemo was not interested in the next items, so he left the auction scene after getting the Dihua core. He knew that with Ao Chang Merchant Association's influence here, Ao Qilong would be able to know when he left. So Yemo never intended to hide it from Ao Qilong. He left openly. As soon as Yemo left, Ao Qilong took a Golden Core State peak stage and the Golden Core State level 2 female cultivator and followed him out. Clearly, Yemo thought too much. Ao Qilong never intended to ask a nascent soul state cultivator to come for a mere Golden Core State level 5 like Yemo. If it wasn't that the manager kept following him, he wanted to kill Yemo himself instantly. But what Yemo didn't expect was that another Golden Core State peak stage left the auction and followed Yemo and Ao Qilong. Yemo sneered. That Golden Core State peak stage clearly wanted the Dihua core. He probably also wanted things from Ao Qilong. But the Golden Core State peak stage's stealth cultivation method was good. Even Ao Qilong's Golden Core State peak stage manager didn't notice him. Yemo's spirit sense was very strong and he had been very experienced in stealth cultivation methods. Playing stealth in front of him was like teaching physics in front of Albert Einstein. The Golden Core State peak stage probably also planned to kill Ao Qilong after he killed him. That way, Ao Qilong's disappearance would be blamed on him. But if that was the guy's plan, then Yemo had planned a little surprise for him. Thinking about this, Yemo didn't choose to fly towards Peihai City and instead flew to Two Horn Island. Yemo had gone through here once. He knew that in another few thousand kilometers, there would be a small island. Although that wasn't Two Horn Island, it was enough for Yemo to kill people. Yemo didn't take much time to get there on his flying ship. After Yemo landed on the island, he started laying down formations. If Ao Qilong knew that his trap formation was for him, he would be even more furious. The reason Yemo decided to set up a trap formation and not an attack formation was that there was another Golden Core State peak stage as well. Yemo wasn't concerned with the first three. He was confident that he could kill all of them without any formation. But Yemo felt threatened by that Golden Core State peak stage behind them. His stealth cultivation method was much stronger than the other three and he seemed very powerful. His chi was even similar to Dong Tianya. Dong Tianya was ranked 4th in the South Peace State Golden Core State Hall of Fame. Even Yemo now might not be able to win against Dong Tianya. Thus, one could see how strong that Golden Core State peak stage behind them was. This guy was the reason Yemo set up the trap formation. He didn't want this guy to run, so he had to set up a trap formation. Although in such little time he could only set up a level 3 formation, that was enough. Despite Yemo's formation skills being far better than before, as soon as he finished the formation base, Ao Qilong and his 2 people were here. Seeing Yemo standing on the island and not running, Ao Qilong sneered. "Keep running? Weren't you really cocky in the auction? Why aren't you cocky now?" Yemo smiled. "Young Master Ao, which eye did you see me running with? With which eye did you see me not being cocky?" Ao Qilong was at a loss for words. This Aravista was very calm and didn't seem to want to run at all. Very well, you have balls indeed. Oh Qilong was so angry he laughed. He turned back to his manager and said, Tong Zhong, debilitate him. Don't kill him yet. That manager was obedient and released a huge octagonal mace without hesitation. He didn't have any scruples about killing Emo. If Emo wasn't just an Aravista, he would go to the high-class room that also required status, not just money. The mace released was very strange. It didn't have a handle. It seemed like an octagonal ball. But once it was released, it immediately turned into a metal mountain that loomed over Emo. Emo approved of this cultivator's attack. This mace made the air around Emo stiff, making people feel they were in a canopy. But Emo didn't even need to struggle against this. He just used his cultivation essence and that feeling disappeared without a trace. This binding was too weak, even an ordinary golden core state tertiary stage would be able to break free. Thud, Emo was smashed a few hundred meters away into a huge rock. He immediately spat a mouth of blood and seemed to be immobilized. Emo was speechless. He was fighting someone and he had to force himself to spit blood. This was unbearable. But Emo knew that if he took the upper hand, that cunning fox would get ready to retreat even if he didn't retreat himself. With someone that powerful, if he decided to retreat, even Emo wouldn't be able to stop him with a trap formation. If someone escaped here, even if he wore the 9 transformations, he would leave behind some clues. Emo wasn't going to take this risk. Plus, he knew he couldn't kill Ao Qilong personally. Ao Qilong's support was at least a hollow spirit state cultivator. The difference between the hollow spirit state and nascent soul state was too huge. Emo didn't believe at all that there was no spirit sense tracing on Ao Qilong. If his conjecture was right, anyone who killed Ao Qilong would have his information sent back. So, Emo couldn't kill Ao Qilong and had to wait for that man lurking behind them to kill Ao Qilong instead. In that case, he couldn't act too tough. Ha ha ha. I thought you were strong. But this is all you've got. Keep bidding, perhaps if you call out a higher bid, I can let you go. Idiot, you're just an Aravista and you dare to act cocky on Peiqi Island. Ao Qilong walked up to Emo and sneered. Don't worry. I won't kill you now. I will take you back to serve you properly. In Ao Qilong's eyes, Emo was an idiot waiting for torture. Emo shook his head. This Ao Qilong was really like an idiot, as he said. He had 0 fighting experience. Even if he didn't die here today, he would eventually be killed. Why didn't he think that if Emo truly had so little power, how would he dare to bring them here to get himself killed? Brother Long, why not kill him now and take his ring? Let's see how many spirit stones this Aravista has. That golden core state level 2 beautiful woman said softly as she walked over and held Ao Qilong's arm. The greed was almost dripping out of her eyes as she stared at Emo's ring. Wait! That golden core state peak stage seemed to notice something wrong. Emo was so cocky. This shouldn't be all he had. But he had just called out when he saw Emo suddenly get up and throw out a big stamp. It immediately turned into the size of a small mountain and smashed towards Ao Qilong. The golden core state peak stage was shaken and wanted to help, but he wasn't going to make it in time. But Ao Qilong only sneered, "Stupid little trick." At the same time, he released a silver broadsword that immediately turned into a 3-meter-wide silver light. The silver light struck the stamp first, and the stamp was hacked away thousands of meters away before falling on the ground and dimming. Emo was sent flying hundreds of meters away, crashing into the rocks of the island before spitting out more blood. Emo was angry. That golden core state peak stage hiding in the back saw that he had lost too quickly and instead didn't dare to come out. Helpless, Emo could only ambush Ao Qilong. He only showed the ordinary strength of a golden core state level 5 in that attack. He believed that the lurking cultivator wouldn't be able to tell. If he still didn't fall for it, then Emo had decided to use all his power. It wasn't certain that he would be able to keep them all. This is your confidence? A mere golden core state level 5 dares to ambush me, Ao Qilong said in contempt. Perhaps you finally know the difference between golden core state level 9 and golden core state middle stage. What a pity. It's useless to know it now. Emo was completely speechless. Before his ambush, He intentionally let out his cultivation essence and attacked once Ao Qilong had a reaction. But now this guy was shamelessly talking about the difference between Golden Core State Level 5 and Level 9. Tong Zhong breathed easy, but he immediately became vigilant and turned around. At this moment a sigh sounded in their ears. The three realized another person had come onto this island. Yemo felt assured hearing this. The last guy finally came. Otherwise, he didn't know how long he would have to keep up the act. Now these guys can bite each other. Yemo knew that the reason that the Golden Core State Peak Stage believed his act was not because he was smart, but because the guy didn't consider his power a threat. It's indeed an Aravista, and a Golden Core State Level 5 at that. You really dream too big. You came to this island and set up a trap formation wanting to use it to kill 2 Golden Core State Level 9 cultivators. Pity you didn't have time to finish it. The Golden Core State Peak Stage walked over as though there was no one here. Then, he looked at Yemo. I knew the first time you got injured was an act. But with your power, you can't even pretend anything. You want to rely on your trap formation, right? You think you can trap them even if you set it up? Keep dreaming. Yemo bit his lips and didn't say anything. Meanwhile, he was thinking about how powerful this Golden Core State Peak Stage was. He could tell that he was acting the first time, but what about the second time? As for this guy seeing his trap formation, he didn't care at all. Even Tong Zhong saw it. To them, this formation was worth nothing. But only Yemo knew the power of this trap formation. It was just a level 3 trap formation base, but Yemo believed that once he completed the formation, even Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivators wouldn't be able to get away. That Golden Core State Peak Stage looked at Yemo and said, seeing how you're quite wealthy, I'll let your opponents die first. Yemo felt his words were dodgy but couldn't tell exactly what was wrong with them. Ao Qilong was instead feeling concerned seeing that this guy arrived on the island without them noticing. But he was about to lash out seeing how nonchalant this guy was. However, Tong Zhong got in front of him and said, friend, this Aravista has some conflict with us. This has nothing to do with you. Are you going to get involved too? Our Aochang Merchant Association isn't something that people can abuse. The Golden Core State Peak Stage suddenly sneered. You don't need to hang Aochang Merchant Association on your mouth. It's not bad, but I don't consider it a threat. Even if the Heavenly Monarch wants to take my shit, I will fight for it. So this means you want to fight with us, friend? Tong Zhong grabbed the octagonal mace and said. The Golden Core State Peak Stage looked at that mace in contempt and said, that ragged ball is enough for a Golden Core State Level 5, but not enough for me. So shameless, you're only a Golden Core State cultivator too, yet you think you're nascent soul state. Brother Long, kill this cocky bastard, the female cultivator said in contempt. Only Yemo knew that this Golden Core State Peak Stage delayed the time of her getting his ring. That's why she was unhappy with him. The amicable Golden Core State Peak Stage's face suddenly went cold and he flung his hand behind him. That female cultivator didn't even see what it was and her body sprayed out blood mist. She looked at that Golden Core State Peak Stage in disbelief and wanted to say something but she was unable to and just died. A Golden Core State Level 2 was instant killed. Even Yemo was shaken. He had tried to estimate this Golden Core State Peak Stage's strength. But he was even stronger than he had imagined. Yemo saw clearly that the strike was a long, thin black line. It seemed to be alive and very fast, instantly piercing the woman's dantian. What shook Yemo was that the string looked very thin but immediately released power enough to blast her chest apart. Yemo was unnerved. If that man had ambushed him first, he didn't know if he could have dodged it. How dare you kill Fei Fei? I'm going to kill you. Ao Qilong was furious and was about to attack with his broad silver sword. But Tong Zhong stopped him. Wait, young master. Ao Qilong calmed down after this. His eyes grew cold and that broad sword circulated above his head as though he would kill someone at any time. Friend, you're strong, we'll leave now, Tong Zhong said. The Golden Core State chuckled. You want to go? You've probably recognized me, right? Since you have, do you think I will let you go? Yemo was shaken upon hearing these words. He looked at the Golden Core State Peak Stage. His face was very ordinary, one that people would never remember again. Clearly, this man also wore a mask, but it was a much higher level than his. This guy's mask was a magic artifact that made people unable to remember the face. Emo was sure that the reason Tong Zhong recognized this man was due to that string. Tong Zhong's face went pale, but he still saluted with his fists. Yes, I recognized you, friend. North Far State Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 3. Ao Qilong was shaken. Your North Far State Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 3? Mo Chenli? Then Ao Qilong's face also went pale. There were 2 of them, but they were far from enough for Mo Chenli. They didn't expect he would appear here. Mo Chenli's name wasn't Mo Chenli originally. His surname was Mo, and he was very cruel. He never left anyone alive. Thus, everyone called him Mo Chenli, meaning that they must not get within 1,000 kilometers of this guy if they were fighting him. Otherwise, if they got close, they would die for sure. Pretty much everyone who had encountered him was already dead. That's why no one knew what he looked like. He was the only one to not go to Golden Core State Hall of Fame but still appear on the rankings. Some even said he had killed nascent Soul State primary stage cultivators, but no one knew for sure. This ranking of 3rd was given decades ago. Perhaps he could even be Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 1 now. Attack! Tong Zhong was decisive. He knew that Mo Chenli wasn't going to let them go no matter what. Ao Qilong also released his huge broadsword and threw a rune out. He could only activate this level 6 rune in this short time. Couldn't do anything to Mo Chenli but was enough to delay him. Tong Zhong's mace suppressed space again and howled towards Mo Chenli. A black bead also appeared in his hand. This was red lightning. Seeing Mo Chenli sneer, Mo immediately knew that even if the 2 used all their means, they were no match for Mo Chenli. He didn't expect Mo Chenli to be this strong. Mo couldn't care about Shadowless slumber anymore. He used a light spirit sense pike on Shadowless to wake him up. He needed this guy, but this guy was sleeping in Golden Page World. Shadowless was woken up by the spirit sense pike, and when he knew of Mo's will, he crawled out unhappily. He raised his feet at Mo but eventually succumbed to Mo's will and went out. Mo found that the gold dot already covered more than half of Shadowless back. Mo was quite expectant to see how powerful Shadowless was now. Mo looked at the 3 fighting. Ao Qilong's chest was bleeding and looked at Mo Chenli in satisfaction. Clearly, he didn't have long to live. That cool-looking sword was on the side. Tong Zhong was covered in blood. His mace was surrounded by countless black strings and couldn't move. The red lightning he threw out was also surrounded by countless black lines and couldn't even activate. More and more black strings appeared while Mo Chenli only had a few holes on his clothes. His demeanor was very calm. Clearly, he didn't doubt at all that he could kill the 2. Tong Zhong's face was pale. Bead-sized sweat rolled down it. Mo also noticed that there was a black string floating in front of him that was moving slowly towards his dantian. Tong Zhong knew that he would be dead for sure if the black string neared his dantian, but he couldn't stop it at all. He used all his cultivation essence and could only slow the black string. Mo was shocked. It seemed that Mo Chenli could control far more than just one black string. But Mo also was decisive. If he had to ambush, it was now. Otherwise, when Mo Chenli finished dealing with Tong Zhong, he wouldn't be well off either. The moment he decided to attack, he released Zissou and used Purple Eye Soul Sever to the max. He didn't even care about the damage he did to himself. He used the Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike with the Purple Eye Soul Sever. This was the most powerful and cruel attack Mo could use. It was cruel to both the enemy and himself. His Purple Eye Soul Sever, when used at full power, did quite some damage to himself as well. With his Golden Core State Level 5 Cultivation Essence, the Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike was so much more powerful than before. The Whirlpool Purple Sword Rays were dense and even formed a tangible purple whirlpool, completely surrounding Mo Chenli. Thousands of meters of distance passed under Mo's feet rapidly. When the purple sword rays had surrounded Mo Chenli, Mo was already there. But when Mo saw the sneer on Mo Chenli's face, his heart went cold. He had a bad feeling. He finally realized where that feeling came from. In his subconscious, he thought that Mo Chenli was underestimating him. But in fact, Mo Qianli saw through that he was faking the injury both the first time and second time. The reason he said, "Seeing as how you're wealthy, I'll let your opponent die first." This was just to make Yi Mo think that he lowered his vigilance against Yi Mo. But when he was fighting Tong Zhong and Ao Qilong, he was actually constantly wary of his ambush. The reason Mo Qianli said that he had seen through his trap formation was to make him less cautious, and he fell for it. Could be said that as soon as the two met each other, Mo Qianli was targeting Yi Mo with his attacks while he was still oblivious and trying to scheme against Mo Qianli. He fell for it indeed and chose to ambush Mo Qianli at this moment. Mo Qianli could have killed Tong Zhong way earlier, but he was waiting for him to attack. Understanding this, Yi Mo forcibly stopped himself and wanted to pull back Zisu. Yi Mo knew that his whirlpool strike wasn't enough to kill someone as powerful as Mo Qianli, so he might as well take it back for defense. As soon as Yi Mo wanted to pull back Zisu, he felt the countless black strings join together forming a thumb-sized strand. Before Yi Mo could react, it was already at his chest. There was some horror in his dantian. He had the strong feeling of being suppressed. Yi Mo could see clearly that the spear-like black strings were the ones surrounding the mace, but under Mo Qianli's control, they instantly attacked him. Yi Mo didn't even have time to use Zisu to block. He had seen countless golden core state masters, but never someone as fast as Mo Qianli. He might not even be able to stop this speed head-on, much less when being ambushed. But this guy was careful to the extreme. Ordinary cultivators would have long given up already. But Yi Mo spat out essence blood and used purple eye soul sever to the best of his ability. Even if he was going to die, he was going to bite this bastard. The moment that the black string was about to pierce into Yi Mo's chest, the pressure paused and so did the string. Yi Mo wasn't going to waste this opportunity. Zisu was already released and was in front of his chest. Yi Mo knew that the moment of pause wasn't that Mo Qianli wanted to have mercy on him, but due to his soul pike. If it wasn't for that, he would have been gone already. Before Yi Mo could even sweat, he had already used Illusion Cloud Exert will strike to the best of his capability. Ugh! Mo Qianli gasped, clearly suffering from the attack. A trickle of blood came out of his mouth, but he maintained his sneer. "You didn't disappoint me indeed. This is a spirit sense attack. I'm using 40% of my focus to deal with the two idiots from Aochang Merchant Association and spending 60% of my attention on you, but you could still manage to injure me. Even so, you're still going to die." Suddenly, the thick black strand turned into countless fine black strands and surrounded Yi Mo Tong Sheng, who barely survived because of Yi Mo looked on dazedly at Yi Mo and Mo Qianli. When Mo Qianli was fighting them, he wasn't using his full power at all. This was his full power now, the heaven-covering black strings. Tong Zhong was shaking from just looking at the sight. What shook him more was that the golden core state level 5 had been acting weak. He realized now that the reason he acted like he had gotten injured was not to fight them but for Mo Qianli. Clearly, the trap formation this golden core state level 5 set up was not for them but for Mo Qianli. From the start to the end, the two weren't targeting them but each other. Tong Zhong's heart sunk. Such a terrifying golden core state middle stage. Tong Zhong knew Yi Mo wasn't going to live through this, but he had never even heard of a golden core state level 5 cultivator that was this strong. What a joke it was that he and the young master had thought this was an Aravista. Ai Qilong, who only had one breath in him, also looked at Yi Mo in a daze. He knew that Yi Mo was going to die under this move for sure, but if Mo Qianli wasn't here, this insect of a golden core state level 5 to him would have long finished them off. The outside world is dangerous. Don't go out easily until you reach nascent soul state. Ao Qilong finally understood what his father had meant when he said this. Clearly, his power was nothing in North Far State. Other people respected him because of the Aochang Merchant Association, not his own power. Even Mo Qianli felt Yi Mo was about to be killed. He breathed easier but also thought that this golden core state level 5 was the strongest he had ever encountered. If he wasn't careful and schemed for everything ahead, he might not have such an advantage. Now that he was surrounded by the evil soul strands, not even a nascent soul state cultivator would be able to escape. But before Mo Qianli killed Yi Mo, he wouldn't underestimate Yi Mo at all. He kept trying to pierce Yi Mo with the black strands. He had already ignored Tong Zhong and Ao Qilong. The only person who didn't think he would die was Yi Mo himself. He had calmed down now. He knew that he must not be pierced by these strands, or he would be finished. The illusion cloud exert will strike activated countless sword rays that join together like a sword ray formation, blocking every little strand accurately. At first, Mo Qianli didn't care, but when he saw that his strands kept on getting wasted, his face finally changed. He split one strand that pierced Tong Zhong and Ao Qilong's head. Then, he used the remaining ones to attack Yi Mo. The strands grew in number and speed. He wanted to kill Yi Mo as fast as possible. When he took Ao Qilong's head, a beam of light darted into Mo Qianli's body. Mo Qianli saw it, but he didn't care at all. Clearly, this wasn't the first time he had dealt with this. Illusion cloud exert will strike. It was forming a communication with each sword ray through his will. But as the strands grew more and more, Yi Mo also began to struggle. He didn't even have time to eat a spirit recovery pill. He was soaked in sweat and blood seeped out of his mouth. His face was very pale. Clearly, his spirit sense was already injured. At last, Yi Mo just closed his eyes. He couldn't care about finishing the trap formation to trap Mo Qianli. This Mo Qianli was too strong. He had to think about how to escape the endless strands. Yi Mo seemed to have the same feeling as when he fought Ji Ziyuan. He had to rely on his senses to feel the black strands and destroy them. As time went on, more and more blood seeped out of Yi Mo's mouth, but he still closed his eyes to feel the black strands piercing over. Yi Mo wasn't the only one struggling. Mo Qianli's face was also pale. He didn't expect someone would be able to survive this long after being trapped by his black strands. Was this golden core state level 5 a monster? Mo Qianli couldn't stop now as well. He had to kill Yi Mo as the evil soul strands were taxing on the spirit sense as well. He would be hurt greatly if he forcibly stopped them before killing someone. It seemed like he had the upper hand, but it was actually a stalemate. If he could hold on till the end, Yi Mo would lose. If he couldn't, then the soul strands being destroyed would heavily injure him and make his cultivation level drop. What shook Missouri Qianli was that he had so many evil soul strands, but none of them could hurt Yi Mo at all. No matter how fast they were, Yi Mo could always find it and destroy them. In the beginning, his evil soul strands were very close to Yi Mo, but now they were being pushed away. Only when he killed the other two and focused all his efforts on Yi Mo did the strands push towards Yi Mo again. The reason he was undefeated was that those who were pierced by his evil soul strands would die for sure. No one could escape. As time went on, Mo Qianli began to get scared. If this continued, he would lose for sure, because Yi Mo was starting to push the evil soul strands back again. He even started to regret getting involved in this matter. Little did he know that there was Shadowless under his feet. It wasn't that Yi Mo had forgotten about Shadowless, but Yi Mo couldn't spare the energy to hint to Shadowless to attack. Shadowless was strong, but its intelligence was still completely under Yi Mo's control. Couldn't attack on its own. But even if Yi Mo could order Shadowless now, he wouldn't. He had gotten past the hardest moment. He was still bleeding from using too much spirit sense, but he was very happy. He finally felt the feel of the illusion cloud fifth strike. When he controlled the sword rays to form simple formations, they drastically decreased the threat of the black strands. Yi Mo kept trying these methods of control. After some time, Yi Mo suddenly felt comfortable. The pressure was gone and his spirit sense completely let loose. He opened his eyes and found that his purple sword rays had formed a sword ray formation that trapped the diminished black strands. With a mere thought, those black strands would be completely destroyed. Illusion cloud formation kill strike popped up into Yi Mo's mind. He knew that his illusion cloud fifth strike had formed. It was just a trap and kill formation now, but as his spirit sense increased and his control over the sword rays did as well, it would turn into more and more types of trap and kill formations, and even defense formations as well. Looking at the pale-faced Mo Qianli, Yi Mo howled and waved Zisu, making an arc before yelling, "Kill!" Suddenly, the black strands were enveloped by the purple sword rays. Seeing Yi Mo destroy all the black strands, Mo Qianli suddenly spat blood. His face was as pale as paper. He looked dazedly at the black strands that had disappeared and couldn't believe that the evil soul strands that had allowed him to dominate people and kill countless enemies for 200 years were all destroyed. Although he had lost more than half of his black strands already, he had believed that if he killed Emo, he would be able to get them back over time. But now, Emo suddenly seemed to have found a way to deal with them and instantly killed all of them. Emo Qianli looked coldly at Emo and wanted to eat him. 200 years of work was destroyed before he even reached nascent soul state. His heart was bleeding. He had never thought that there would be a golden core state level 5 as powerful as Emo. If he reached golden core state peak stage, who could fight with him? There probably wouldn't be a more powerful golden core state cultivator in the entire North Far state. But he had to kill this man, not by himself however. He couldn't kill Emo, but he only had to spread news that Emo had killed Ao Qilong, and this golden core state level 5 wouldn't live for long. Not everyone could hide like him. You will regret it. Emo Qianli glanced coldly at Emo for a long time before saying. Emo smiled. Whether or not I regret, you won't live to see it. You think you can trap me with an incomplete level 3 trap formation? Idiot, Emo Qianli said. Emo didn't answer and ordered Shadowless to attack while throwing out tens of formation flags. At the same time, Emo Qianli used his mobility technique. But as soon as he used it, he felt his meridians hurt. Immediately, he knew that he had been ambushed. He enveloped Shadowless immediately. He was someone who was very patient, but this golden core state level 5 was more patient than him. He only used such a killing blow when he was about to run away. This person was too scary. Emo Qianli just wanted to get away as far as possible. He instantly decided to burn his essence blood and force out Shadowless. The next moment, his figure had disappeared. Emo applauded Emo Qianli for his decisiveness and the power of his cultivation essence and spirit sense. He had been fighting with him for so long but still forced Shadowless out with just one mouthful of essence blood. This was also when Shadowless was so much stronger than before. Thud. Emo Qianli was suddenly stopped a few kilometers away. He looked at Emo in disbelief and pointed at him in horror. You're a formation master as well. Clearly, if Emo wasn't a formation master, how could he finish and activate the trap formation so quickly? For the second time, Emo Qianli felt danger. The last time he felt this feeling was against a nascent soul state level 1. At that time, he used his wits and damaged himself heavily before trapping the nascent soul state and killing him with evil soul stands. You said you could run, I want to see how. Shadowless, go. Emo then gave Zisu a wave, bringing about another onslaught of purple sword rays. Emo Qianli was furious. How dare Emo ambush him again with that thing? If he got ambushed again, then he wouldn't be called Emo Qianli. Even though his evil soul strands were gone, he wasn't a pushover. Thinking about this, his spirit sense flared up in pain again. That damned spirit sense attack. Just how many cards did this golden core state level 5 have? He was almost absurdly powerful, but in that moment of pain, Shadowless entered his meridians again. At this moment, Zisu brought countless sword rays and surrounded Emo Qianli. Emo Qianli had released a round shield already, but due to the spirit sense pike, he wasn't completely able to block the sword ray. Plus, Shadowless already started devouring his essence blood. 2 purple sword rays pierced Emo Qianli's body and his body froze. He wasn't able to stop the combined attack of Shadowless and Emo. He finally realized how powerful the purple sword rays were before. He thought lightly of them before, but now he realized that it was only because Emo wasn't able to fully activate them the first time. When the purple sword rays pierced into his body, he felt his cultivation essence flow away rapidly. I, Emo Qianli, have been dominant my entire life, but now I'm going to die here. I'm unsatisfied. Emo Qianli fell with endless hatred and unsatisfaction in his eyes. Emo took the 3 storage rings without hesitation and burned Emo Qianli's body before packing away the formation and leaving quickly. Emo Qianli had killed Ao Qilong during the battle. It was to bring the person behind Ao Qilong here. He was fast at running and had a way to remove the spirit sense mark, so he was fine even if the master came. Meanwhile, Emo would be the one unable to get away. Not long after Yemo left, a man in his 50s soon appeared. He looked at the dead AI Qilong and Tong Zhong. Fury burned in his heart as he cursed. No matter who you are, I will cut you into pieces for killing my son. After going around for a few days, Yemo finally came back to Peihai City. What shook Yemo was that there were suddenly a lot of high-level cultivators in the city. Most of them were above hollow spirit state. This made him worry. Yemo got back to MOU immediately. Yemo immediately summoned everyone once he got back, wanting to ask what happened after he left. But without a need to call anyone, everyone had gathered already. Only Su Jingwen was still in solitary cultivation. Song Yangzhu grabbed Yi Mo's hand excitedly. The MOU now was not the same MOU that he had left. There weren't just 2 pill masters. Now there were 3 level 6 pill masters and 1 level 7 pill master. Li Jingwen was golden core state level 9. Clearly the blue wind pill had helped him greatly. Zhen Shaoshan had returned to golden core state level 3 again. Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu were both foundation establishment state peak stage. They were 1 step away from golden core state, and the only thing holding them back was that the 2 didn't have the cultivation increasing pill necessary. The reason the 2 reached this level of cultivation in less than 2 years was partly due to their spirit roots, but also because Yemo was providing them with spirit range pills. Not even 8-star and 9-star sects would have such things, but Yemo gave them to foundation establishment state cultivators. Even Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong were Qi gathering level 8. Yu Qiang was foundation establishment state level 5. What shook Yemo the most was Su Jingwen. She reached foundation establishment state without the foundation establishment pill. After she activated her hidden spirit root, her progress was astounding. Plus, she spent almost all of her time in cultivation. Li Yuqian had the least progress. She was still nascent soul state level 1. Yemo knew that when she had reached nascent soul state, it was already forced. Plus, it was harder to progress in nascent soul state, so it was normal that she wasn't able to progress. Sister Li, I heard people outside say that the Yanghai Merchant Association had bad intentions for us and a disaster transformation state Qian Bei helped us? Is that Qian Bei still in Peihai? Yemo asked. If he is, then I should go visit him. Li Yuqian nodded. Yes, that Qian Bei is called Ji Ling. He's a disaster transformation state formation master from the South Peace state. He came looking for you many times. He seemed very interested in our defense and attack formation. Every time he came, he would study it for a while. But half a month ago, the teleportation formation between South Peace State and North Far State was completed. So he left Peihai. He left behind a jade card saying that if you go to the South Peace State, you can find him there. He left, Yemo said with regret. But then he immediately reacted and asked in joy, Sister Li, did you say the teleportation formation between South Peace State and North Far State is complete? Yes, it's finished. Brother, do you want to go find Sister Luoying and Qingxue there? Yiling asked. Yemo nodded. Yes, I received news that they are there. If the teleportation formation is open, then let's go there together. The spirit chi is much better than here, we can cultivate there. But Li Yuqian shook her head. I know you've wanted to go there, and I've asked Ji Ling Qian Bei too. That teleportation formation is not for ordinary people. It's for cultivators at the hollow spirit state and above, and you have to be younger than 300 years. Ji Ling Qian Bei said that even though you're a formation master, he wasn't able to break this rule and get a spot for you to go. This immediately doused Yi Mo's excitement. The teleportation formation was ready, but it had nothing to do with him. Seeing Yi Mo's disappointment, Li Yuqian said, This is only the first criteria. The second one is that each person must pay 1 million top-grade spirit stones. Yemo fell silent. That was too easy for him, but hollow spirit state power. Even if he could reach it, how long would that take? Surely it wasn't going to take him 1 or 2 years. Could he wait that long? Just these 2 criteria? Yemo asked. Li Yuqian shook her head. No, 2 more. One can be accepted with either the referral of a disaster transformation state Qian Bei from North Far State, or if one is a pill king who is level 3 or above. Yemo had already broken through to a level 4 pill king last time. But the thing was, he couldn't show that. With his current power, if he made known that he was a level 4 pill king, The only result would be getting kidnapped by sex. If he was just level 3, that might have been better. But he reached level 4 and didn't have any power faction to back him up. The only hope was a disaster transformation state Qianbei referral, but were there even disaster transformation state Qianbei in North Far State? Are there disaster transformation state Qianbei in North Far State? Emo asked. Those who reached disaster transformation state all went to South Peace State to reach truth realization state. Who would want to stay here? Li Yuqian nodded. Yes, according to what I know, there are 3 disaster transformation state cultivators in North Far State. You've probably seen one of them. I've asked Jiling Qianbei. The teleportation formation is controlled by 3 disaster transformation states and 8 cauldron filling state cultivators. I've seen one. Li Yuqian smiled. You've seen him for sure, but you just don't know. Every time the herb plane opens, Ling Zhongtian Qianbei would go. So you've seen him for sure. Ling Zhongtian? He's disaster transformation state. Emo asked in shock. Li Yuqian nodded. Yes, Ling Zhongtian is one of the 3 disaster transformation state cultivators. The other 2 are from the 2 8-star sects in North Far State. One is from the moon-seeking sect, Shan Di, the other from Virgin sect Tang Mengrao. Emo sighed. It seemed relying on others was the most unreliable. Even if he could get the referral, so what? Could he leave Song Yangzhu and the rest behind? It seemed he had to find a way to go there himself, otherwise he would always have to rely on others. To add to that, he didn't know any masters. But when he thought of Luoying and Ning Qingxue, his hands went warm. He was too desperate to meet up with them. Song Yangzhu felt the heat from Yemo's hands and looked at him. She held his hand even tighter, as though if she let go he would go to South Peace State. Yemo knew what she meant. He pulled her hand, signaling her not to worry. Even if he went there, he would come back soon. If he couldn't come back, he would think of ways to take them with him. In addition, Yemo realized that these requirements meant that they wanted the most genius disciples of North Far State. They exerted such efforts to find talented people like this for some reason. No matter what their reason was, raising his own power was the most important. Thinking about this, Yemo gave some pills to the others. Yiling and Song Yangzhu were about to form their cores. Yemo gave them special grade cultivation increasing pills. When Li Jingwen held the Chao Huan pill Yemo gave him, he almost cried out of excitement. He didn't think that this was real. He finally realized how wise his decision was to follow Yemo. Song Yangzhu knew about what happened with Yemo and felt a little assured. She stayed with Yemo for a night before preparing to form her core. Yemo left Li Yuqian to help Song Yangzhu and Yiling form their cores. He had to concoct large amounts of pills to improve his power. Although he got the Dihua Beast core, it was unsure if he could concoct the Heaven Glory pill. Yemo was also very curious as to what sort of things Mo Qianli and Ao Qilong had in their storage rings. When Yemo came back, Mo started behaving low-key. They gradually retracted their business and stopped expansion. Mo had basically been left to Jin Shaoshan and Yu Qiang. Li Jingwen was preparing to break through to nascent soul state. As for Yemo, he only stayed with Song Yangzhu for one night and went into solitary cultivation. As soon as Yanghai Merchant Association knew that Jiling had gone back to South Peace State, they started investigating what to do with MOU. If MOU continued to expand as it had, there would be no place left for them. Although there was some danger in fighting a power with the support of a disaster transformation state cultivator, the leader of the Yanghai Merchant Association, Yang Yukong, spoke the truth. The reason MOU was supported by that disaster transformation state formation master was because that formation master liked the defense formation of MOU. Now that the disaster transformation state cultivator had returned to South Peace State, he might never come back to North Far State. He might not even remember MOU. Plus, MOU didn't have a hollow spirit state cultivator, so they couldn't go to South Peace State. Yanghai Merchant Association didn't need to be worried. But at this moment, they got news that MOU was starting to retract their business in both advertisement and expansion. Since they realize their situation, it means they're not dumb to the bone. We also need to change our tactics. We'll cook them slowly and take their place after a year or two, Yang Yukong said. At the South Peace State, the South Peace City was very busy. This was the biggest cultivation city in South Peace State, and the most famous place here was the Trial Tablet Square. In South Peace City, there were 5 stone tablets on the Trial Tablet Square. They corresponded to the Golden Core State, Nascent Soul State, Hollow Spirit State, Body Condensation State, and Cauldron Filling State. There were no tablets for Qi Gathering and Foundation Establishment State. There were few Disaster Transformation State and Truth Realization State cultivators, and reaching this level was already a legend in itself. Most people could remember their names, so they didn't need a trial tablet. But one thing was for sure, anyone who reached Disaster Transformation State and above had once been on these tablets. Each tablet soared into the clouds. The cultivators who wanted to take part in the trial had to come to the tablet matching their cultivation and mark their name. The tablet would rank your power of your marking. Usually, the stronger you were, the higher ranked you were. The tablet could not only judge your cultivation power but also means of attack and even state of will from the word you write. Thus, this was almost like a Hall of Fame ranking. Usually, when someone came to mark their name, the place would get busy but the hype would soon diminish. However, these past few days the square had been filled. Almost all of the elite disciples of South Peace State came here because these few days were the South Peace City Social. The elite disciples of the sects would come with their Qian Bais here and discuss about cultivation and trade goods. Everyone was from the elite of the elites. No one thought they were worse than anyone, so the best way to compete was using the trial tablets. Only a rare few cultivators would choose life and death battle due to unresolvable conflicts. This time, this social was mainly for Golden Core State and some nascent Soul State cultivators. Before a Golden Core State tablet, a young man in blue shirt looked pridefully at this tablet. His clothes shook without wind. Clearly his cultivation essence had surrounded his body. Everyone fell quiet as they looked at this young man, waiting for him to mark his name. A group of women stood at one corner. One baby-faced girl looked very excited and said, "Sister Rong, that blue shirt Fang Zhongshi is the Golden Core State Hall of Fame #1. Do you think he can get into the top 10 of the trial tablet?" Sister Rong smirked. "Fang Zhongshi is not bad, but there's no way he can get into top 10. It's not bad if he can even get into top 20. Sister Rong, you're third on Golden Core State Hall of Fame. Can you beat that Fang guy on the trial tablet?" The round-faced girl asked expectantly. Sister Rong frowned and thought for a while before shaking her head in dismay. "I can't beat him yet, but half a year later, I think I will be able to." One green-dressed girl suddenly asked, "Sister Rong, who are the top 10? How come even the first of Golden Core State Hall of Fame can't beat them?" Sister Rong smiled. "Martial Sister Beiwei, usually Golden Core State cultivators with some power come and try leave their name here, and then if they reach Nascent Soul State and try to mark their names on the Nascent Soul State trial tablet, the name on the Golden Core State trial tablet disappears. Some people disappeared after leaving a name on the Golden Core State tablet, so their name stays there." Tang Beiwei asked curiously, "In that case, if you leave behind your name on the tablet and never go write your name on the Nascent Soul State tablet, your name would stay there forever?" Sister Rong shook her head. "No, after 300 years it would disappear, except for the person ranked first. No matter which trial tablet it is, the name in first position will never disappear unless someone surpasses him. The top 10 names you see here are all left behind by Golden Core States in the past 3 centuries, but they all disappeared and never left their names on the Nascent Soul State trial tablet." Then, she looked at the pale yellow-dressed woman and asked, "Martial Sister Susu, is there something on your mind?" Before she could reply, the blue-shirt youth dashed up into the air in a blue ray of light. Almost everyone's attention was captivated by that blue figure. The intense pressure from the trial tablet could be felt by the observers even from a long way away. 3 meters, 6 meters, 18 meters. Finally, the blue figure seemed bound by that force and slowed down. When he was almost 21 meters in the air, the youth suddenly stopped. It seemed he had reached his limit, and the youth quickly wrote the words Fang Zhongshi on the tablet. Immediately, the words turned into a blue ray of light that immersed into the tablet. When the youth landed, his name appeared on the tablet. He looked at his ranking Golden Core State 11th. However, that youth shook his head in disappointment. Fang Zhongshi got 11th. Indeed, He's still number 1 to the Golden Core State cultivators of South Peace State. Yeah, the lightning element cultivation method is too powerful. Other than the Chen Bais who have disappeared, he is actually number 1. He doesn't seem too satisfied. Everyone took part in the discussion. However, Fang Zhongshi seemed very calm. Suddenly, he saw a white-clothed woman walk towards a group of girls on the square and joy shone in his eyes. He quickly followed her. Due to Fang Zhongshi easily getting 11th, many people who wanted to try their luck gave up. Some even made up their mind to get into top 10 no matter what next time. If their ranking was too low, they would just be embarrassing themselves. Lightning Cloud sect Fang Zhongshi greet martial sisters from Black Ice sect. Fang Zhongshi was very polite and saluted with his fists. Martial brother Fang is extraordinary indeed. You got 11th as soon as you arrived. This ranking is pretty much number 1. Congratulations. Sister Rong smiled. That round-faced girl looked at Fang Zhongshi in admiration. Fang Zhongshi didn't seem satisfied at all. Martial Sister Rong, my measly accomplishment is nothing to be praised. Even Sister Rong wouldn't perform any worse than me, much less the top 10 Qianbei. Martial brother Fang, is your goal to get into the top 10 of Golden Core State Trial Tablet? The round-faced girl asked. Fang Zhongshi nodded seriously. Yes, although I don't hope to reach the top. I must get into top 10 before I reach nascent soul state. Then, he looked at the white-clothed woman. However, that woman was talking with 2 other women in joy and didn't notice him at all. Sister Xianxia. Tang Beiwei charged over when the white-clothed woman came. She hugged her tightly. Luoying also came over and the 3 became very excited. This was the first time they had reunited since they split up. Sister Susu. Beiwei. I have always wanted to go visit you guys but… Ning Qingshua's eyes went red as she spoke. Luoying was different. If it wasn't something to do with Yemo, she would control her emotions no matter how exciting something was. But Tang Beiwei and Yi Ling were different. They showed their emotions on their faces. If possible, Ning Qingxue would rather be with Luoying and Tang Beiwei than be by herself at Ethereal Immortal Pond. When they spoke of Yemo, they clearly seemed dejected. With their fame, there was no way Yemo wouldn't have known about them if he was in South Peace State. But the fact was that Yemo still hadn't come looking. The only explanation was that he wasn't in South Peace State. Fang Zhongshi and Zhao Rong looked at the 3 in surprise. Luo Susu's beauty was known throughout the entire South Peace State, but the people from Black Ice sect knew how she didn't like to talk. She rarely said anything to anyone other than Tang Beiwei. Zhao Rong also knew that white-clothed woman was Ning Qingxue from Ethereal Immortal Pond, also one of the South Peace State 10 beauties. Usually, the 10 beauties were famous but were rarely close like this. Luoying, Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei stood together talking. White, green, and pale yellow, the 3 colors were in stark contrast to each other, and almost all the attention from the square focused here. Martial Sister Qingxue, your cultivation speed is really fast. You're already Golden Core State Level 3. Fang Zhongshi suddenly walked over and saluted with his fists. Who are you? Qingxue is not something you can say, Luoying said coldly. Fang Zhongshi felt a little awkward. He believed Luoying was purposely saying that. There was no way anyone here didn't know him. He didn't know that Luoying really didn't know who he was and was just unhappy that he tried to chat up Ning Qingxue. Fang Zhongshi was a gentleman and smiled. Lightning Cloud sect Fang Zhongshi. Greeting Black Ice sect Martial Sister Luo Susu. His tone was genuine and didn't seem flirty at all. Luoying frowned and wanted to take Tang Beiwei and Ning Qingxue to another place to talk when she heard someone else say, Martial Sister Susu. I didn't think you were here too. Another group of people walked over. The man leading them wore faint purple cultivator robes. In terms of looks and temperament, he was even better than Fang Zhongshi. Luoying didn't say anything at all and was just going to drag Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei away. Martial Sister Susu. This is Infinity Sect's number 1 disciple Yuan Guanan. He's only 36, but he's already nascent soul state level 2. Zhao Rong quickly stopped Luoying and introduced. Infinity was the top sect in the entire Luoyu continent. Black Ice sect was also a 9-star sect, but they were far from Infinity Sect's level. Susu didn't really like talking to these people, but she couldn't act like she didn't see Zhao Rong. Qingxue. At this moment, another girl who came with Ning Qingxue asked, Martial's sister Qingxue. They are? The girl came from Ethereal Immortal Pond. She asked this question as confusion after seeing Ning Qingxue suddenly being so talkative with two girls. Haha. Everyone here is from the elite of South Peace State. Everyone will be the future powerful beings of South Peace State. Let me introduce you, Yuan Guanan said. He pointed at Luo Ying and the others and said, They are Black Ice Sect's Luo Susu and Tang Bei Wei, and Ethereal Immortal Pond's Ning Qingxue. They are part of the most beautiful 10 girls of South Peace State. Behind them are core disciples of Black Ice Sect Zhao Rong and Wang Weiner. Martial's sister Zhao Rong is Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 3, and this good-looking blue-shirt brother. The blue-shirt youth stood straight and said, Lightning Cloud Sect Fang Zhongshi, greetings friends. With this, more and more cultivators were introduced. A gray-clothed handsome cultivator also walked out and saluted with his fists. Golden Sword Sect's Xiao Fei. This is my sister Xiao Shirin. People discussed, Golden Sword Sect Xiao Fei, Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 2. He didn't go to the trial tablet. I think if he tried he would be at least top 20. His sister is the 5th-ranked beauty of South Peace State, Xiao Shirin. Infinity Sect's Dong Tianya. God Wind Valley's Emofeng. More and more names were said. Everyone was the elite of their sections. Luo Susu, you didn't disappoint me indeed. You're already Golden Core State level 4. I will wait for you 1 year when you're Golden Core State peak stage. Wensai will challenge you again. Luo Ying looked coldly at Wensai and said, If you think you're strong, go challenge the people at Hall of Fame. I don't like to talk to people I don't know. Luo Ying never understood why this extremely beautiful woman wanted to challenge her all the time. If it was for Yuan Guanan, Luo Ying felt that was even more absurd. She didn't have any intention towards pursuing this Yuan. There was a very strange feeling as soon as the two started talking. Both were ranked top of the South Peace State 10 beauties, but why did there seem to be conflict in their tone as soon as they met? Ning Qingxue studied Wensai. She was even a little taller than her and Luo Ying. Her hair was shoulder length and her extremely beautiful face was somewhat prideful. Her skin wasn't even as white as Beiwei's, but there was a unique feminine attraction about her. It was as though if someone looked at her, he would never be able to move his eyes away. From Ning Qingxue's perspective, Wensai was very beautiful but just a little lacking compared to Susu. At most, she was at her level. Wensai, Susu's sister has never seen you before. Why do you want to challenge her? Ning Qingxue frowned and asked unhappily. I don't like being ranked the same as someone. I will let everyone know that there is only one first place in the South Peace State 10 beauties. Wensai said calmly. Yuan Guanan looked unhappily at Wensai and said, Sai, don't talk like that. Wensai sneered and ignored Yuan Guanan. Luo Ying looked calmly at Wensai. I never thought I was some South Peace State top 10 beauty. If you like the fame, then take it. Qingxue and Beiwei don't care about it either. If you want it, then take it. No one would come to take it from you. From today on, don't include us in some South Peace State 10 beauties. If you're bored, you can find someone else to challenge. I'm not as bored as you. Qingxue. Beiwei. Let's go. Then Luo Ying pulled Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei's hands and turned to leave. Everyone was dazed that Luo Susu didn't care about the fame. But what right did she have for Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei to quit the South Peace State 10 beauties? The surprising thing was they didn't object and left willingly with Luo Ying. Wensai was stunned for a moment but stopped Luo Susu again. Good, you have this self-awareness, but there are some men you can't touch. Even if you dare to touch, I will take it back and I will challenge you. Sai. Yuan Guanan said unhappily, clearly thinking Wensai was talking about him. Luo Ying was soft on the outside but tough on the inside. She felt contempt at picking fights with someone like Wensai. Her tone turned cold. I have a husband and I will only touch my husband. No one can take him from me, you are no exception. Other than my husband, even if you take all the men in the world, it has nothing to do with me. Everyone was shaken. No one expected the first beauty to have a husband already. Many of those who admired Luo Ying fell into an ice cave. Although they knew they stood no chance even if she wasn't married, that didn't affect them feeling this way. Susu, you're married already? Yuan Guanan's face went pale. His tone was getting shaky. Who is he? Who? Luo Susu didn't even look at him and left. Wen Tsai was shocked for a few moments and her face grew unsightly. Luo Susu didn't even fight her but completely defeated her with just a few words. Even if she took all the men in the world, it has nothing to do with her. This was clearly saying that she was a promiscuous woman. When Tsai's face sunk, she wasn't implying about Yuan Guanan because only she knew who it was. But Luo Susu's words hurt her. She swore in her heart that no matter who your husband was, I will let you know that no one can stop me from getting the man I want. Perhaps one day, I will steal your husband and then kick him back to you. Then you will know the difference between us. Emo had come out of solitary cultivation after a month and was greeted Yiling and Song Yangzhu, who had reached Golden Core State. Emo was very happy that the two had both reached Golden Core State. He was just about to give them the Golden Core State cultivation resources, but felt a powerful spirit chi whirlpool explode outside Peihai City. Brother, that's caused by Brother Li forming his nascent soul. Master and Sister Shan both went to see. Let's go have a look too, Yiling said. With this, MOU's power would rise up another level. Thinking about this, Yi-Mo released the flying ship and took Song Yangzhu and Yiling outside Peihai City. At this moment, a few thousands kilometers outside Peihai City, many cultivators had gathered and more were coming. Although there were a lot of nascent soul state cultivators in Peihai City, there were mostly Golden Core State and Foundation Establishment State cultivators here. No one wanted to miss this opportunity. Li Jingwen sat in the center of a simple spirit-gathering formation. Li Yuqian and Jin Shaoshan were anxiously protecting him. The understanding cultivators stood 3 kilometers away, but there were a few Golden Core State cultivators who didn't care at all that someone was forming their nascent soul. They stayed very close and had a casual look on their faces. Emo was furious seeing this. Forming the nascent soul required absolute focus and no interruptions at all. Li Jingwen didn't even have a defense formation. Master! Hearing Yiling's call, Li Yuqian and the others turned back to see Emo. Finally, their anxious faces eased up. Emo flew over and saluted with his fists to the cultivators around. Friends, today is our MOU's manager Li forming his nascent soul. Thanks for visiting, but please retreat to a distance of 5 kilometers. I need to set up a formation. MOU's Emo thanks you all. MOU's Emo? He's the owner of MOU that's always nowhere to be seen? How is he only Golden Core State level 5? It's probably him, but don't underestimate him. When he was Golden Core State level 2, he easily killed Golden Core State middle stage cultivators. So that's it. Most cultivators started to retreat. The breakthrough of higher states were the most important thing for cultivators. Anyone who tried to impede them was the most serious enemy. But while most of the people retreated 5 kilometers, there were still 5 Golden Core State cultivators who stood closer. They were very close, only 1 kilometer from Li Jingwen. This distance was enough to threaten Li Jingwen's breakthrough. Emo dumped a few formation flags and looked coldly at them. Why are you still here? Ha ha. The Golden Core State peak stage amongst the 5 laughed wildly. What a joke. What's his breakthrough got to do with me? Is this place yours? A mere Golden Core State level 5 dares to clear the scene. Emo threw down a few more formation flags and said, You guys need to think this through. Once I set up the formation, you won't be able to leave. What do you want to fight? Oh, I understand you have a nascent soul state cultivator. Very well, you're welcome to attack. Our Yonghai Merchant Association seems to have many more nascent soul state cultivators than MOU. You only have 1 and you dare to tell us to go away. A Golden Core State level 8 sneered. By now, even the onlookers realized that these 5 were here to cause trouble. It seems MOU doesn't have it easy. Yonghai Merchant Association really has conflict with them. Clearly, otherwise, they wouldn't send people here to obstruct the breakthrough. Impeding one's Dao Foundation is a huge taboo. Emo didn't bother trying to persuade them. He threw out more formation flags and countless spirit stones. No one could tell what formation Emo was setting up, but as Emo threw more formation flags, the spirit chi nearby seemed to thicken and Li Jingwen gradually grew blurry. Eventually, even the 5 cultivators from Yanghai Merchant Association became blurry. When the 5 cultivators couldn't see the outside anymore, they realized that Emo really dared to trap them. But even so, they weren't worried at all. Mo, you wouldn't dare to do anything to Yanghai Merchant Association. In the end, the 5 couldn't even see each other. Not good, we're trapped. Let's work together and break the formation, the Golden Core State Peak Stage yelled. But no one responded to him. The 5 were clearly separated by the formation. Now, the Golden Core State Peak Stage began to worry. It seemed that Mo, you didn't care if they were from the Yanghai Merchant Association or not. Just as he was about to yell Yemo's name, the sky suddenly darkened. 9 chopstick-sized lightning bolts flashed in the sky. Emo helped Li Jingwen strengthen the spirit-gathering formation while setting up the lightning attraction formation. This time, the lightning attraction formation wasn't for himself but for the 5 Golden Core State cultivators. Previously, he had helped Li Yuqian take some lightning bolts. Now, the 5 Golden Core State cultivators needed to do it. Emo was sure that the 5 couldn't absorb lightning source like him. Once the final lightning bolt struck down, they would be dead for sure. Li Jingwen's situation was different than Li Yuqian's. He had 2 top-grade defense spirit artifacts as well as the 5 altruistic Golden Core State cultivators. Emo wasn't worried at all. After Emo set up the formation, he came out. He didn't want to stay in there for too long and make people think too much. Seeing Emo exit alone without the 5 Golden Core State cultivators, everyone was bewildered, but the lightning was beginning to get crazy. Their attention was focused on that, and they soon forgot about the 5 Golden Core State cultivators. Association Leader Yi, how come our men from Yanghai Merchant Association haven't come out? Another Golden Core State Peak Stage came out and asked in a disrespectful tone. Emo sneered and suddenly raised his voice. You really talk oddly. Just then, I was helping my manager set up a defensive formation and told your men to come out. They said that this place didn't belong to MOU and I have no right to tell them where to stand. I believed so too, so I came out alone. But as soon as I come out, you guys reproach me. This is overtly looking for trouble. Are you going to start trouble either way if I let them out or not? With this, most people watching couldn't take it anymore. They didn't dare to openly offend the Yanghai Merchant Association, but there was gossip spreading. Emo's voice was loud, causing almost all the cultivators to hear and curse the Yanghai Merchant Association for being so domineering. The 2 Golden Core State cultivator knew they were being unreasonable. After all, everyone heard that the 5 Golden Core State cultivators didn't want to come out. The formation rumbled inside. Even if they suspected something, they had no evidence. Plus, after Emo came out, there was only Li Jingwen by himself. There was no way he could fight 5 Golden Core State cultivators while forming his nascent soul. Rumble, rumble. Lightning flashed in the sky non-stop. A few cultivators felt it strange that Emo had added a stealth formation to the defensive formation. After all, stealth formations were of no use when dealing with divine damnation. They would only serve as a waste of spirit stones. As more and more lightning fell, people realized that the rumbling was getting less and less. Crack! The last thumb-sized lightning bolt struck, and a huge spirit chi whirlpool gathered in the sky. Seeing this, everyone knew that the breakthrough was successful. Otherwise, such a huge spirit chi whirlpool wouldn't amass. Emo started to pack up his formation. He wasn't going to let anyone see the lightning attraction formation. As long as he took the formation flags, no one would be able to tell what he did. Even if they guessed that he set the 5 up, there was no evidence. When everyone looked at the 5 cultivators who had gone in, they were shaken. They had turned into 5 charred bodies. They're dead? The Golden Core State Peak Stage questioning Emo suddenly called in shock. He suddenly pointed at Emo and yelled, You dare to kill our Yanghai Merchant Association people, you. In his fury, he couldn't even form a complete sentence. Emo was prepared to use Shadowless to sneak attack if there was someone still alive. But now that the 5 were all dead, there was no need. Hearing this golden core state cultivator's words, he immediately sneered and stood up, saluting with his fists to the people nearby. Friends, I'd invited these 5 to come out before, but they didn't want to come out. Now that they got caught in someone else's divine damnation, am I to blame for this? Is the Xianxia Merchant Association such an unreasonable place? Yeah, the Xianxia Merchant Association is being too unreasonable. Association leader, you didn't even take long to set up the formation. How can he kill 5 golden core state cultivators in such a short time? They were clearly killed by the divine damnation. Haha, we all know this. There's no need to say it clearly. They're just doing this for MOU's land. A golden core state level 5 instantly killed 5 cultivators much stronger than him. The Xianxia cultivators only seemed to know how to do business. Although they didn't dare to offend the Xianxia Merchant Association, they still dared to discuss. Hearing this, the 2 Xianxia Merchant Association golden core state cultivators were furious. No one was helping the Xianxia Merchant Association at all. After all, everyone heard and saw clearly what they just did. They only knew how to do business. This was mocking their battle power. Li Jingwen suddenly got up and howled. His clothes were tattered, but none of his top-grade spirit artifacts were. From the howl he made, everyone could tell he was a real nascent soul state cultivator now. Under countless gazes of admiration, Li Jingwen took out a new set of clothes and walked to Yimo, association leader. I didn't disappoint you. I've reached nascent soul state. Yimo was really happy. MOU was getting stronger and stronger. However, he knew that although he hid the assassination of the 5 golden core state cultivators really well, any clever person would be able to tell he was behind it. This place wasn't suitable to stay at. When he got back, he needed to think about how to fight with the Xianxia Merchant Association. Ever since the 5 golden core state cultivators didn't want to leave Li Jingwen's divine damnation range, Emo had made up his mind to kill them. He had already made a retreat in business, but Xianxia was still chasing them closely. There was no other path of survival for MOU. If they were going to fight sooner or later, he might as well do it now. Seeing that Li Jingwen was done here, Emo said, "Let's go back and talk." "What, you want to leave just like that after killing our Xianxia Merchant Association's people?" An icy voice sounded. Everyone looked at the person who just spoke. Emo's heart sunk. It was a nascent soul state level 3 cultivator. He had 2 nascent soul state cultivators on his side, but they were both only nascent soul state level 1. Even if they could beat the nascent soul state level 3, Xianxia would have more coming while he only had 2. Even though they knew he killed the 5 cultivators, Emo wasn't going to admit it. Thinking about this, Emo said, "There are so many friends watching here, and your Xianxia Merchant Association also has people watching. I don't understand when you saw me killing your people. Am I supposed to be responsible for them getting caught in nascent soul state divine damnation when they didn't want to come out? That nascent soul state cultivator clearly just arrived and didn't know what happened, besides the fact that a few people died." Hearing Emo's words, he frowned and looked at the 2 golden core state from his side. The 2 didn't dare to hide anything. After all, there were too many cultivators here. They would be exposed as soon as they told any lies. After questioning them, the nascent soul state turned and said coldly to Emo, "So this means you set up a trap formation making them unable to come out?" Emo sneered. "Set up a trap formation so they couldn't come out? This is the funniest joke I've heard. I set up a defensive formation and your men didn't want to come out. There are so many people here, ask any of them. Plus, I only set up a level 3 formation. Do you think that can stop 5 golden core state cultivators? This is too funny." The nascent soul state cultivator frowned. He didn't doubt Emo's words. With Emo's age, a level 3 formation would be the best he could do, and that was indeed not enough to stop 5 golden core state tertiary stage cultivators. Emo didn't see that amongst the crowd of cultivators. There was a golden core state peak stage with a strange smile on his face, thinking. It was clearly a level 4 trap formation, yet he calls it a level 3 defense formation. Interesting, such a young level 4 formation master. It's the first time I've seen this. At this moment, Li Yuqian and the rest came to Yi Mo's side. The nascent soul state cultivator saw the 2 nascent soul states and grew more hesitant. He was nascent soul state level 3, but he couldn't say he could win against the 2 for sure. Emo wasn't going to hesitate like him. He immediately said to Li Yuqian and others, "Sister Li, let's go." He took out his flying ship and the six got on. Immediately, they went back to Peihai City. Emo was so desperate to get back to MOU because there were complete formations he had set up there as well as teleportation formation. Even if he was no match for the Yonghai Merchant Association, he could leave easily. As soon as Emo left, the people watching left as well. The Yonghai Nascent Soul State Cultivator had a bleak face and took the two Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivators into Peihai City too. Both he and Emo knew that this matter wasn't settled. The reason he hadn't attacked yet was that he wasn't quite sure what the association leader of the Yonghai Merchant Association's will was. As soon as Emo got back to MOU, he immediately gave out cultivation pills, especially Soul Essence Pill. He gave multiple bottles to Li Jingwen and Li Yuqian. He was going to continue perfecting the formation. Due to being limited by resources, he could previously just barely upgrade the defense and attack formation to level 4. But now, he acquired Qihong's storage ring and the first thing he was going to do was upgrade the formation to level 5. Level 4 formations were sufficient against nascent soul state cultivators. But Emo didn't believe that the Yonghai Merchant Association didn't have a hollow spirit state cultivator. How could the number 1 merchant association in Peihai City be without a hollow spirit state cultivator? Emo rebuilt the formation in the guest hall. If the people from Yonghai came to threaten them, the venue would be the guest hall. That might be the first battleground. Emo also had another reason to do this. It was to let everyone know that MOU wasn't to be easily messed with. If he didn't completely beat down Yonghai Merchant Association, then after he left Peihai and went to South Peace State, people would still scheme against MOU. But what Emo didn't expect was that after 2 days passed and Emo had upgraded all the formations to level 5, there was still no one arriving from Yonghai Merchant Association. Still, Emo didn't worry and told everyone to cultivate. If anyone asked, he instructed them to say that the formations were taught and set up by Jiling Qianbei. If he wasn't waiting for the people to come, he would have already gone into solitary cultivation to reach Golden Core State Peak Stage. No one knew that he had made the Heaven Glory pill and 9 pills at that. But Emo was helpless due to the fact that there weren't any more Dihua Beast cores. So he couldn't concoct more. On the 5th day, when Emo was almost getting impatient, Xianxia said that the Yonghai Merchant Association people were here. There was a group of 11 people. Emo breathed easy. He was afraid that these people wouldn't come. If they used some other means, he really didn't have a good way to deal with it. With Yonghai Merchant Association's dominance, since they made up their mind to annihilate MOU, they would do it up front. This time, Emo killed 5 of their people, giving them an excuse. "Did you go notify Peihai City Lord Estate?" Emo asked. He had already ordered if that Yonghai Merchant Association came, the first thing to do other than reporting to him was to notify the City Lord Estate. Emo knew that in order to survive in Peihai, they had to succumb to one side until they had a certain level of power. Emo chose the City Lord Estate for 2 reasons. Firstly, they didn't have any direct conflict of interests, and second, that as long as he notified them, even if they didn't come, they couldn't say they didn't know. Xianxia nodded. When the Yonghai Merchant Association people came, I already sent someone to notify them. The manager there said that it's not suitable for them to get involved in the matters between us and Yonghai Merchant Association. Emo sneered. He had expected this and said to Xianxia, "Call out Sister Li and Manager Li. Get ready for battle." Emo knew that the conditions Yonghai Merchant Association would set would be extremely unreasonable. He didn't need to ask to know there was no chance of compliance. It was either MOU leave Peihai City or submit to them. As for whether they could even leave safely, it was still up to the Yonghai Merchant Association. Emo, Li Yuqian, Li Jingwen, and Jin Shaoshan came to the guest hall and found 11 cultivators there. Seeing their power levels, Emo's eyes twitched. There were 5 Golden Core State Peak Stage, 3 Nascent Soul State Tertiary Stage and Middle Stage, 2 Golden Core State Tertiary Stage, and what shook Emo the most was that there was even 1 Hollow Spirit State Cultivator. That Hollow Spirit State Cultivator sat at the top and the 10 cultivators sat by his side. He saw Emo and the rest come in and sneered, saying coldly, "Since you came, have a seat." It was as though they owned this place. Li Jingwen was going to talk, but Emo stopped her and sat down first. He didn't talk. He didn't need to be afraid in here. There was a level 5 trap and attack formation. Emo believed that if they manned the formation, they could trap and kill the 11 people even if they had a hollow spirit state cultivator. You're quite bold. That hollow spirit state saw Emo didn't seem scared at all and sneered. Emo suddenly took out 4 jade cups and a jade kettle. He poured an aromatic liquid into the 4 cups and handed the other 3 to Li Jingwen, Li Yuqian, and Jin Shaoshan. Sister Li, have a taste of this, it's good. Then, Emo drank from his cup and closed his eyes in enjoyment for a while. Finally, he looked at the hollow spirit state cultivator and sneered. If you have words, then hurry up and say them. Save your farts for when you go back. After first trapping Li Rua, Emo couldn't join his illusion cloud strikes together, but he was eventually able to use it however he wanted. The illusion cloud formation kill strike had developed to the point he could hurt Li Rua with the sword rays. Li Rua was furious, but he was getting more and more shocked. If he hadn't experienced what he had gone through today, he would never believe that a golden core state cultivator could hurt him. But the fact was that this golden core state cultivator's sword technique was not only bizarre, but the sword rays that shot up from that purple kitchen knife had formed a sword ray formation. This formation was not fluent to begin with, but eventually it became more and more solid. A golden core state cultivator could form his sword rays into the equivalent of a level 3 attack formation. How absurd was this? Clearly, he was at least a level 4 formation grandmaster. Thinking about the fact that Emo was a formation grandmaster, Li Rua began to sweat more and more. It was absurd, but this was indeed the first time he felt fear towards a golden core state cultivator. He had already realized that this formation wasn't set up by that South Peace State disaster transformation state cultivator. It was set up by this golden core state cultivator. In this formation, he was forced to remain very passive and could only try to break free. He had no room to counterattack. Due to this, Emo was already in an undefeatable position. If Emo really set up this trap and attack formation, then Emo was a real level 5 formation greatmaster. He had to go out quickly, otherwise, even if he was hollow spirit state, he would surely be killed in the end. Emo also felt unhappy. He took all the opportunities he could and put Li Rua at such a disadvantage, but he still couldn't damage Li Rua seriously. If this went on, his formation might not last till the moment he killed Li Rua. Hollow spirit state cultivators were indeed strong. They weren't something he could kill even with a level 5 formation. Luckily, he upgraded the formation to level 5 without conserving materials, or Li Rua would have long broken free. His illusion cloud formation kill strike was powerful, but it didn't do enough damage to this high-level cultivator. Emo was already thinking of ways to improve his illusion cloud formation kill strike. He thought that if he formed the sword rays into a real sword, would the power increase drastically? But would that increase the toll on his spirit sense? Suddenly, he heard Li Rua howl in pain. He felt his sword ray immersed into Li Rua's body. The beams from the formation also passed through his body. Li Rua was no longer able to attack the formation. Xianxia Merchant Association won't let you go, he struggled to say before falling dead to the ground. Emo sneered and took out the rainbow soul devouring flag and swept it out. The hollow spirit state cultivator's soul was stronger than that of a nascent soul state cultivator. His attack killed Li Rua, but he had already seen Li Rua use a soul forbidden technique to escape. Not everyone knew how to do this, but high-level cultivators knew a little. Arg! Before Li Rua could beg for mercy, his soul was devoured by the rainbow soul devouring flag. Clearly, the lethal blow wasn't struck by Emo but by Li Yuqian. Those 10 cultivators were already dead. Li Yuqian's face was pale. She had used her forbidden technique and hurt herself as well. She shook her head and said weakly, "A bit longer and that hollow spirit state might have broken free. In that case, all of you would have fallen with us." Then Li Yuqian took out a life essence pill and ate it before sitting down. She said to Emo, "Our battle with Xianxia Merchant Association has just begun. They lost a hollow spirit state and many nascent soul state cultivators, which was more than half of their power, but their association leader Yang Yukong is a hollow spirit state middle stage cultivator. We need to be prepared." Then Li Yuqian started recovering her cultivation essence. Emo nodded and took Li Rua's storage ring. Li Jingwen and the others had handed over the rest of the storage ring. Emo waved his hand. Let Sister Li distribute these later. Take out what you need. Put the rest into MOU storage. Take a break too. That Yang Yukong won't let things go here. I need to lay the formation down again. After this battle, Emo gained a better understanding of the power of hollow spirit state cultivators. Just a level 5 trap and kill formation plus, his golden core state level 5 power wasn't enough to kill a hollow spirit state. Emo grit his teeth and used up all of Qi Hong's materials. He laid a few more kill formations in MOU. If 1 was not enough, I'll use 2. If 2's not enough, I'll use 3. I don't believe that a level 5 formation can't do anything to a hollow spirit state middle stage. Emo thought that at this moment, no one would come and find them. Even if there were, it would be people from the Yanghai Merchant Association. But as soon as Emo came out, so you said someone had come to find him. It was a golden core state peak stage cultivator. He looked like he was in his 50s with a broad face and big eyes. He was clearly an astute person. Association Leader Yi, I'm Pu Yufeng, a solo cultivator. I hope you don't mind my sudden arrival. The middle-aged man saluted with his fists. Emo didn't know what this guy was here for, so he said plainly, Brother Pu wouldn't be unaware of MOU's predicament right now. Since other people don't dare to come, why would you? Pu Yufeng sat down and said, Of course I know MOU's predicament, and I even know that the Yanghai Merchant Association cultivators looking for trouble here probably won't make it back. Emo was surprised. It was just moments ago that he killed them. How did this Pu Yufeng know? Pu Yufeng said again, I wasn't too confident before, but when I came to MOU, I was sure. To be honest, Association Leader Yi is the biggest genius I have ever seen. A few days ago, I saw Association Leader Yi use level 3 trap formation to kill the 5 Yanghai Merchant Association cultivators. I thought Association Leader Yi was a level 4 formation great master, but it seems now that I was gravely mistaken. Emo was shaken. He didn't expect this Pu Yufeng to be able to see through him. It seemed he really couldn't underestimate the cultivators of the world. There were powerful cultivators everywhere, but they just didn't want to show it. Emo was grateful that Pu Yufeng didn't expose him on the spot. But he knew that this guy had some request know that he was bringing this up. No matter what, if he used Yanghai Merchant Association to threaten him, there was no need to talk anymore. Emo believed this person wouldn't be dumb enough to do that. Emo smiled. He felt this Pu Yufeng didn't have any ill will at least. He said, Brother Pu, if you have anything to say, just say it. Okay, in that case I will. Pu Yufeng sat down again.